everything is okay on my end.
That's basically it in a nutshell.
Okay. Ugh, jeez. I fucking hate listening to his voice. Ugh. It's in a nutshell. Okay. Let's see here. Moderation feels safe. I'm just setting up the OBS thing right now. Close that. I'm gonna write in test. Okay. Let's see here. Why the fuck is this built like this? Oh, wait. There we go. It cuts off the chat. There we go. That's better. Just gotta squeeze it in there like that. Okay. I'm gonna test out the audio on my end to make sure I'm not too loud, and then I'm gonna have you talk just so people can see if you can hear, just in case. 1 second. Okay, go ahead and try and talk.
I talking, testing.
Why the fuck is the latency so bad, man? It's taking like 10 seconds to hear back on this. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, now...
Okay, good.
I'm not sure if I'm going to upload this as a YouTube video or what, but just in case I am, I spent this morning, the first thing I decided to do this morning was watch this fucking loser named Michael Malice, who, by the way, he insta-blocked me the moment I called him out on Twitter, like about maybe a year or so ago, because he was supporting Trump, and I said, are you sure you're just non-ANCAP and you're faking your anarchist status? And he said, whatever makes you think worse of me. I go okie dokie, and then I follow up with, the fact that you're soft blocking me makes me feel like you're scared of the fact that a real anarchist is finally caught up to you and is calling you on your bullshit. Insta-block. I was blocked just like that. This dude is such a spiny weasel. I've only watched this for 3 minutes, and I've been screaming at it all morning. Penelope, you tell them. Pen.
Yeah, really only 3 minutes from the amount that you were fucking complaining about it. I thought it was more.
Yeah.
I really legitimately thought that you had watched so much more of it, to the point where I'm like, are you just going back to the beginning? Because when you got the video up, I was like, no way you've only watched that much.
It's so bad, man. It's so bad. As somebody who's actually a real anarchist, this guy pisses me off. He has an anarchist handbook that he wrote, and half of it is literally just anarcho-capitalist talking points from what I've heard. Which is like, why the fuck are you shoving like Rothbard into your fucking anarchist handbook? He's a corporate authoritarian. He was literally like friends with neo-Nazis or some shit from what I remember, but
for real?
there's a lot of theorists weren't exactly the best of people, unfortunately, so but like friends with neo-Nazis is kind of bad compared to just being like a sexist like Proudhon was, or a mild or like a somewhat anti-Semitic. This guy was like friends with the KKK and shit from what I heard, but I don't even know if he put them in there. Let's just get into the video. Or what, are you gonna say something?
Yeah, just on the whole point of what was it? Of most theorists being terrible people. It reminded me that if and when I do get into content creation, one of the first things I'd want to do is respond to that fucking What's It Fault His video about Marx, where he is just constantly slandering him. And to be fair, a lot of the things that he brings up are true. Marx was definitely decently anti-Semitic, and he was extremely fucking racist to black people.
Jesus.
But he tries to use that as an indictment of Marxists in general, when it's like...
This dude's an apologist for Hitler, from what I'm aware of. Not Michael, but Tick History. Like, he made a 4-hour video about why Hitler's not a socialist. And literally everybody has been bashing him for it.
Oh, wait, yeah, Tick History? Yeah, he made a 5-hour video being like, oh no, Hitler's clearly a socialist. And then it's like, Freda made a 40-minute video being like, okay, so that's just wrong.
Yeah.
And look, people done the same thing, being like, hey, Tick, you're not reading the fucking sources that you give.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're a fucking idiot.
you're gonna listen to
Because,
me screaming you're a fucking idiot for another 17 minutes, but let's start
oh,
because you're gonna realize real quick why I think this guy's an idiot. Do you have any sort of knowledge about what anarchism is?
well, I obviously have a general knowledge. I haven't read any theory. I do have. Okay, to be fair, I don't think David Graeber necessarily counts as a
He is one.
theorist per
Well,
se.
I mean, he's an
More. Okay,
anthropologist.
yeah, I was about to say, I see him more of an anthropologist than I do an anarchist theorist, but I am definitely getting a lot of David Graeber books for
He
my
was
birthday because, like, he's really fucking cool.
he wasn't
And I
a
like,
theorist, he was an activist. Like he worked I think he was like one of the leading figures of the Wall Street movement or some shit like that.
yeah,
One second, gotta
which
log
is
down my senses.
specifically why I'm looking at getting some of his shit for my birthday, and then after that
Yeah.
as well.
The Dawn of Everything has been really good so far. I kind of had to drop it because I got super busy with life and stuff, but it's a good book. It was a really good book.
Yeah, that's fair. I've heard a
From
lot
the
of good
first.
about it, both in anarchist and just general anthropological areas. And
You
Graeber seems
you'll
to have a lot of respect for people who aren't anarchists as well, anyway.
you'll
So
have your
you just,
typical historian who's anti-anarchist who's like, no, he got this thing wrong. He got this thing wrong. But it's like, I don't give a shit. Like these people are usually not entirely telling the truth themselves, especially because of their anti-anarchist bias and bias for conventional wisdom. But we need to get on to this. It's been like, what is it, like 5 minutes?
yeah,
We've
yeah.
just been talking about random shit. But let's do
Okay,
it.
fair. Yeah, go on.
So, what are the principles of your political position?
Well, one of the principles is that you don't need to get into what I believe because I think it's a very
That's valid.
insidious concept that we have to be friends with people who agree with us or to discuss politics at all. There's this
Kind of depends. If you're talking to like a neo-Nazi or some shit, probably shouldn't be like friends with them unless you're trying to build
Yeah.
rapport to be able to convince them. That's how I see it, at least. I've tried doing that before. I actually have a debate
Yeah.
with like a female groiper on this channel somewhere. It lasted like 3 hours and she rage quit like 3 times throughout the debate. We can watch that later. It's funny, but yeah, we
Oh
need
yeah, no, I'd love that. That'd be
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Okay.
concept that
You can hear it, right?
Yeah, I can. I
Cool.
can.
politics
You
have to
sound
permeate
kind
every
of annoying.
aspect of
I sound kind of annoying?
No, he sounds kind of annoying.
Oh
He's got
yeah,
that,
yeah, he
like,
does, yeah.
he's got that sort of not the
Person's
stereotypical like ooh racist Texan accent, but
He
like
just
the
sounds gay.
stereotypical whiny American.
Let's go, let's go.
life and
Okay.
they have to constantly be discussed, and this is something I'm completely opposed to. I think it's really a horrible idea, and it's tribalism, which I'm not entirely opposed to at its worst. If if someone is if you're having an emergency at home, you don't quickly run a scan. Oh well, I want to call this person, but they voted the wrong way or something like that. So
I agree.
my political views, and you're referring to anarchism, it's simply being against politics as a mechanism of resolving disputes. And,
What
everything just follows.
Are you fucking... This is what I was raging about this
It's
morning,
not
dude.
making
This is
sense.
what I was raging
What?
about this morning. He is explicitly dodging mentioning the abolishment of hierarchy and coercion for a reason. And it's because he is a fraud. He's a anarcho-capitalist. Simple and through. Like, I've heard this guy say that there should be a market on law enforcement. What the fuck are you talking about? You think there should be a market of like paramilitary whack jobs enforcing the law that they make up or some shit? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with
Which
this guy?
in and of itself a form of state.
This actually actively pisses me off. He's completely misrepresenting. I have never heard anybody define it as... What was it again? What was his stupid definition again?
like-
Let me listen.
Against using politics as a way to solve disputes or some
That's
fucking
literally...
shit like that.
Anarchism is inherently political. It's a political ideology, you dumb fuck!
That's why I said it doesn't
What?
make any sense. It's like it's a fucking political ideology that is being
You-
used to settle disputes. What do you mean?
And like I said, he's completely avoiding talking about hierarchy because he absolutely believes in hierarchy. I've called this guy, like I said, I called this guy out on it, insta-blocked. It's like he's only talked to right-wingers and he's never faced substantial pushback about the fact that he's fucking lying. This is actively
that's
lying.
the thing.
Like, this dude had supposedly read, like, Goldman, Kropotkin. He has him quoted in his books. if you've read Goldman and Kropotkin, you should know this is full of shit. This is completely fabricated. Absolutely fabricated. He says he has respect for these people.
I haven't read any Kropotkin yet, but even from the minimal knowledge I have of him, making that claim and then saying this sort of shit is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's like, oh god, it's like the fucking people who read Marx and are like, oh, Marx despised capitalism. He didn't think that there was anything good about it. Like, what? No.
That's not even true.
Not what he said.
Like, they only read the first 5 pages of the Communist Manifesto, or the, what was it, the 22 Principles of Communism, and that's it. It's like all they read.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, or hell, the sort of people who just read a Wikipedia article on Rothbard's ideas and are like, oh, these sound really base. Like,
I really want to fucking find out where this guy got this definition from, but he's never gonna tell me, because I'm not sure I'll even get to that size. I'm actually gonna do Twitter space debates going forward. I'm gonna try that out, because maybe I'll grow on the platform and maybe Senpai will notice me and I could scream at him about how much of a fucking fraud he is. Okay, but we need to continue.
Referring to anarchism, it's simply being against politics as a mechanism of resolving disputes.
I hate that I rewinded it because I want to go on another rant again, but I already did.
Okay, you know what? Another thing. I know that you obviously know this.
Yeah.
But an important thing to bring up is that, anarcho-capitalism inherently has hierarchy within it.
Literally,
you cannot remove the hierarchy. Like, let's say hypothetically, anarcho-capitalism was the modus operandi of the world. That would still be a situation where you have hierarchy. You don't necessarily have a state, but you still have hierarchy. And realistically, you probably would end up having a fucking state. But even if you somehow didn't, it would still be a hierarchical system, considering you have people being able to accumulate more wealth than others. You have people being able to be in higher positions of power than others.
It's completely ridiculous. This guy doesn't believe in anarchism. He's just a corporate, he's just like anarcho-capitalist. Like I said, he's a corporate authoritarian. He wants corporations, and or maybe he'll dodge the word corporations because, oh, corporations can't grow without the state. He wants businesses then to control our lives. He does not believe in freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom only for the owner class, except they don't have any regulations to keep them in line, which means they can exploit us all they fucking want, and no amount of coping about, oh, you could just move somewhere else. Well, you could just move to another business just like right now. We'll change that. Nothing will change that. It's just pure fucking cope from them. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let's actually
good
move on away from this.
Yeah.
And
oh, great, an ad's coming up soon. More capitalism.
Everything just follows as a consequence of that. It's, we can unpack it, but that's basically it in a nutshell.
Is that a typical perspective on anarchism?
No, it's not.
I don't know that there is a typical perspective.
What do you mean there's no typical perspective? What the fuck are you talking about? The typical perspective is abolish all hierarchy, and most notoriously the state, because the state is the enforcement mechanism of hierarchy, and also abolish privatization because they are inherently hierarchical. That is the fucking typical view of anarchism, unless you're like an idiot who thinks it's just chaos, which most people do, unfortunately, but they've never read Kropotkin because they're bitches and probably don't even know he exists.
The name anarchism doesn't fucking do any help.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's the state who perpetuates that kind of narrative. We got to be honest. It's not. Oh yeah. It's not the anarchist fault. That's how. It's the state's fault that left.
As we have repeatedly spoken about ad nauseum, the median voter is too fucking brain dead to look at it and think, maybe I should look up the definition of it and not just what I think it is.
Okay, we gotta hear him out, which I already did up to like 3 minutes.
After that first definition, I don't really want to, but fine.
Well, you have me to guide you, my friend. I am your anarch guide. Anarcho-guidism through the fucking hellscape that is the mind of Michael
You need to work
Malice.
on that neologism a bit more.
Of anarchism, there's like there's an anarchist lapel pins website, and they have the standard flag of anarchism is the black flag,
That is
but there's
true.
black and red, black and gold, black and pink, black and blue.
I'm hoping he's not referring to anarcho-capitalism with the black and gold. I'm not sure if it's yellow or if it's gold because I'm colorblind, but let me look that up. Let me look that up real quick, actually. Let me ask ChatGPT because it's easier.
I think it is actually officially described as gold, but it looks more yellow.
If it says gold, then I'm gonna lose my shit. Black and yellow, gold. Ah! He said black and gold. That's anarcho-capitalist, and that's the very first one he brought up too.
I mean, it's not really too surprising, is it?
You brought up black and that's anarcho-capitalism, man. That's just anarcho-capitalism. He's a fucking fraud, as I've said. But I can't just fucking. Let's continue. I'm going crazy, man. I've never encountered such stupidity within our supposed anarchist circle, besides some other shit that I've heard, but that's another topic for another day. Play.
Blue. So all the different schools of anarchism. So, and they disagree very heavily.
No, they don't. What the fuck are you talking about?
Wait, hold on. What did he say? I zoned out.
They all disagree heavily. No, they fucking don't. The only one that disagrees heavily is anarcho-capitalism, because you're not an anarchist. Everybody else generally agrees on pretty much everything except how to organize society. And outside of maybe a few purists that you come across on Twitter, like anarcho-communists, and I'm not saying that anarcho-communism is bad, by the way, I do support it as an ideology, but outside of puritists who've never actually read theory and just read a fucking Wikipedia article, there's not that much disagreement. I don't believe there's that much disagreement. Most anarchists get along pretty well. He's lying because he's probably gotten yelled at by people like me. In private.
I think the furthest right wing I've seen an anarchist theory, well, other than fucking anarcho-capitalism, is I think it was effectively. I don't think they actually called it this, but fucking like market anarchism.
Yes,
just, like,
market anarchism. That's the thing.
Like I'm fine with markets and money existing because I don't think that they're inherently against an anarchist society, which I know most anarchists would disagree with, but like that is the furthest to the right I have seen most anarchists ever go.
It's basically,
and even then it was basically just I'm fine with them existing.
It's basically the modern form of mutualism, which is what Proudhon was. He was a mutualist, and market anarchism is kind of like the modern evolution of that, pretty much. I haven't gone into it too much, but they basically believe that there should be a market in the sense of people exchanging things. They define markets as like very broadly as exchangement mechanisms, whether it's like gift economics. They believe that the Soviet Union had markets, right? Which I kind of disagree with if we're talking about like market economics in a capitalist sense. But the way they define markets, I personally just find too vague from the ones that I've spoken to.
Yeah, I mean, the USSR did have private property, and it did have markets to a degree, but they weren't in a traditional capitalist sense.
Yeah, like supermarkets, they had those, obviously. Every society needs that. But let's continue.
It's going to be a Venn diagram.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, the main reason...
You don't understand,
I wasn't necessarily
dumbass.
trying to agree, but I'm curious. I'm interested. I don't see many people saying that they're anarchists in...
Hey, there's me. Hello.
2021. So what...
It's 2024. I'm right here. Get me on your show. I will just spend 2 hours bashing Michael Malice.
Well, why do you find it compelling? What's
also this fucking interviewer, he's one of those people who will, try to be centrist type, like, I'm just doing interviews, I'm just asking questions. Meanwhile, the only people they bring on are right wingers, and at best
Let me
fucking
look up.
destiny.
I've seen this guy before. He's kind of like a brings everybody on that he can. Like he's brought on David Goggins and shit. He's brought on let's see, Mark Anderson, Michael Gelb. Like I don't. He's brought on Mike Israetel. That's interesting. He's brought on like a bunch of different people from St. Uger, Dave Smith. Uh, Interesting. He kind of reminds me of those channels where they interview just like a bunch of high profile people regardless of where they are on the political spectrum. I've seen like some of those, like the Diaries of CEOs or something like that. That's one of these things where I see a bunch of like high profile like business owners and shit get brought on, but that's like a whole other rabbit hole to go down. Play. Oh, pressing the space bar doesn't work apparently.
Well, I think it closely explains what we're seeing in politics. I think it's an effective predictor of future social political behavior. I think it's the only worldview that allows someone to have a clean conscience with what they advocate politically.
I can agree with that because it's a very clean conscience to say, I don't believe anybody should have power over each other, but you don't believe in that, do you, Michael? Because you're a bitch.
And
I mean, it's true. It's true.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. It's just funny the way.
I like to inject comedy because it makes people laugh.
No, that is the correct way to go about things.
Indeed.
I think that's just basically what it comes down to. I also want to point out that anyone who has a radical philosophy, is going to come off as either a moron or a lunatic.
Yes, you are.
If you told me that you had a friend who's quite tall, and I said, how tall? And you said, he's 6'10" or whatever, 2.1 meters. It's like, okay, that's pretty tall. But if you said that they're, 10 meters tall or they're purple tall, it's nonsensical, right?
Yeah, kind of nonsensical. Just like saying,
that's a really
fucking anarchism is when no state. Anarchism is when no political mechanism. Fucking get out of here, you little soy boy bitch.
That's such a terrible analogy.
Blue tall. What the fuck is blue
mean?
tall? He's making shit up.
Like, if you said that your friend is 10 meters tall, then you sound like a moron or a lunatic, and that, like,
what does that even mean? Like, that's an observable thing.
That's how radicals sound to the general populace, then I suppose to a degree he's right, but even then, not necessarily.
Like, he's describing something that you can physically observe. Like, if you're going based on hearsay, yeah, I know somebody who's 20 feet tall. Yeah, you'll sound like a lunatic. But if you can physically observe that, then you're not really a lunatic. You're just pointing out something that's, like, super rare. But blue tall, you just need to be put in a psych ward, bro. Just for bringing that up.
So, at a certain point, once an idea...
Way too long.
17 minutes is way too long, I agree.
Ideology.
So... this is a clip, by the way, of a larger podcast.
Oh, I know.
We should watch him on the Patrick Bet David podcast after this. That was like 2 hours and 30 minutes. Oh man, I'm going crazy.
So divorced from what is presented as, part of the...
I should probably calm down right now because I probably come across as a moron and lunatic. I should probably calm down right now. Because
I'm the only one who's allowed to be.
I'm the bad cop. You're the good cop.
Yeah, pretty
normal
much.
Realm of discourse, people will automatically, preemptively dismiss it. Although that's decreasing in the case.
How do you transition from a situation where we are now to one where there's ever anarchy at large? By definition.
Oh, this part pisses me off so much. Get ready.
You can't have an anarchy.
I'm not sure if you saw this part. I want you to listen to it real quick.
Alright.
Where there's ever anarchy at large, by definition, you can't have an anarchist party.
Well, sure you can. They have had them in the past. I mean, they could just be there to kind of gin up the works and cause anarchism. It just means voluntary association.
Oh my god. Oh,
He doesn't
Mike-
understand how to defend
Michael,
things.
Michael, if I had a camera pointed at me right now, I'd be shoving my face in it and going, Michael, there is no such thing as an anarchist party. You know why there's no such thing as an anarchist party. It's because we're not supposed to be working within the system, dumb fuck. The entire point is that we work outside of the system, doing shit like general strikes like anarcho-syndicalists propose, violent revolution like anarcho-communists propose, or at least some of them, doing dual power structure building like the Zapatistas or Rojava or the Secos de Sola in, I think it's Venezuela. That is what anarchists do. There is no such thing as an anarchist political party. And furthermore, he defined anarchism as voluntary association. Brother, he's an anarcho-capitalist. That's ANCAP shit. Is it voluntary association? Yes, that's an aspect of it. Is that what anarchism is in its entirety? Is that what you could boil it down to in one sentence? God, no. As I went over before, it's when you abolish all forms of coercion and hierarchical power structures. Hierarchy is inherently unjust. Like, what is this guy doing?
Christ.
He's so
I think
fucking wrong!
I think the worst part about this as well is that fucking hell. Man, like, I think his only understanding of anarchists is the fact that I'm pretty sure, was for a very brief time fucking anarchists working in like the Soviet parliament for a bit.
I don't even know what the
And
fuck he's referring to.
That is the only thing I can think of, because for a bit there were anarchists actually in the Soviet Union's parliament.
Yeah, for probably like 5 fucking seconds before they realize how bad of an idea that is.
Yeah. Like,
that's being a bit hyperbolic, of course, but
no, I get it. Like, one of my bigger criticisms of Lenin is that he was effectively just using anarchists and then toss them to the side. I get the fact that, like, you want democratic centralism, you want to have a united front, but also, you know,
you can't have a united front with status. I wish I didn't have to when I say this, but unfortunately, based on the history that anarchists have with statist Marxists and the such who support the dictatorship of the proletariat, there is no way we could functionally work together. They will backstab us the moment we get past the capitalism stage. That's just how it's always worked, unfortunately, no matter how much I want to admit it, because I do wish we could grow our movement and work in unity. But these people hate us. Or maybe not like on an individual level, but a systemic level. They think we're idiots, and we think they're idiots because they think that we should be utilizing the state as a tool to transition towards communism, and we don't. And that causes a lot of fraction in between us and Marxists. Like, there was a fucking huge ass beef between Marx and Mikhail Bakunin back during the First International and shit like that. Oh boy, they fucking hated each other, dude.
yeah, Christ.
But this is where I stopped. Now let's continue on. And
all right.
Oh, okay. I really need to calm down right now. Actually, let me pee real quick because I might piss myself from anger. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Oh.
Go, good, lovely.
Give me just 1 second. I gotta throw out something.
All right then.
Give me 1 second. I just need to make sure my dog's in here. Don't scare me like that. My brother's dog is staying over here right now because he went to fly out to another state, and she was hiding under the bed like she always does. I don't fucking know why. She loves
Aw.
hiding under beds, and it makes it hard to find her sometimes. Give me just 1 second.
All right. Let's.
Okay, ready to go? I
Yeah.
have four concurrent. I have 4 views right now. I have 1 concurrent viewer, and I'm pretty sure that's me. But let's continue on, as I talk to only you.
Now, anarchists are opposed to political activity, but
The
you-
best and most important viewer possible.
So
Evidently.
true, my buddy. Okay, let me rewind a bit just so we can get the full stupidity of what he is saying.
and cause anarchism just means voluntary association. Now, anarchists are opposed to political activity, but you can certainly say, like, look, I'm opposed to war, but this is a case where it's a self-defense situation. So there's the argument to be made for that with things like voting.
What? Not really. I mean, there's a case you can make for harm reduction to a certain extent, but the issue is the fact that anarchists generally believe that both parties are pretty much the same in almost every aspect. There's only one real difference between the Democrats and Republicans right now, and it's the fact that Democrats are sometimes pro-union, and also the fact that Democrats are socially more liberal and progressive. But outside of that, I can't really
Yeah.
think of any major differences on a federal level between the two parties, which is why a lot of anarchists
I mean,
generally
there is-
reject voting.
I mean, there is the fact that like Democrats are democratic in a liberal bourgeois sense.
Well, I
but
mean, it's a
they're
part of
at
the
least not
name.
Yeah, but they're at least not trying to fucking,
The thing about
create
Democrats
a
is,
theocratic dictatorship.
just like Republicans, the thing about Democrats is that there are too many various ideologies ranging from moderate Biden to social democratic Bernie Sanders. There's way too much variety, which means
Yeah.
it's hard to get shit done. And we're kind of seeing the same in the Republican Party right now between principled racists and racists for money, pretty much, like Elon Musk. We're seeing a fracture in
Yeah.
them. This is something that's in both parties right now, which means we barely get anything done regardless of who's in. And that's one of the other reasons I oppose the dual party system right now, and kind of why I'm dropping voting for myself personally. I just don't see shit getting done, and I don't want to spend 5 hours in the fucking sun every 4 years.
Oh yeah, I mean we spoke about this quite a bit, but I personally also said, unless the Dems get shit sorted out and they specifically have a Bernie type candidate,
I'd vote for Bernie Sanders
running in-
possibly, just because of the universal healthcare stuff. Kind of somewhat close
Yeah.
to providing basic needs, which is what most anarchists believe in and stuff like that. Which
Yeah,
is
but,
why
like-
I'd vote in that case, but the issue is there's no difference right now for me, from my point of view, of voting on a federal level between an establishment politician and a even more establishment politician.
Oh no, yeah, I agree.
And I
Like
keep
I
getting
said, unless
backlash
you
for
have a-
that in the fucking server that we talk in, and also on Twitter. I'm starting to get some backlash for that, but I don't give a fuck. I'm principled.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I have a line
is
that
the-
can be crossed personally.
yeah, there is certainly an issue of being too principled. I mean, hell, with what I'm reading up on Trump, I agree with like a good portion of the shit that he says, but the motherfucker was way too principled and refused to compromise on anything, which is precisely the reason Stalin was able to fucking take.
Yeah.
And well, to be fair, because of how principled Trotsky was, he probably would have done a slightly better job, but not much better. Just
I'm gonna be
because-
honest. Trotsky is literally just a Marxist-Leninist, except he wants to spread it globally, and Marxist-Leninists generally want to keep it isolated to one country. There's no major difference outside of that. Yet they want to kill each other. It's kind of like regular leftism, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. But like Trotsky and his friends and whatnot were all way too fucking principled to actually get anything done because they refused to compromise on even the slightest of things, and as a result, got nowhere. Which is when being principled goes too far. But in this instance, you set your principles aside and you actually voted in.
Mhm.
And it mattered for nothing because, fucking liberals be liberals. They fuck everything up.
Yep.
And unless the Dems actively have a more populist-leaning candidate, or just an outright leftist in 2028, then they're probably fucked. Which is why yeah.
Let's continue. Because this is new territory for me.
Just barely, but yay!
Time for pain and suffering.
I'm sorry, what was the start of the question?
Oh, he just went off on a tangent. Bro had a fucking brain fart
To
moment.
work out
Okay.
how you transition.
Oh, how you get there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anarchism isn't a location; it's a relationship, and the vast proportion of our lives, especially in the West, are anarchist. You and I have an anarchist relationship. There's-
What?
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 Huh?
What is he saying? Okay, let's hear him out. Maybe he's gonna say something. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, we have an anarchist relationship. Please explain the logic.
There's no possibility we're calling the police. If there was some kind of we were somewhere together and we got violent, we're still not calling the state. If we were at a bar, I'd get kicked out or you'd get kicked out. So this claim that all kind of...
If you got into a fight with him, you'd be calling the police, dumbass. That's not what anarchism is. What? Let me rewind just to make sure I got that. Let me just absorb that real quick.
If there was some kind of we were sometimes, especially in the West, are anarchists. Get there, yeah. So anarchism isn't a location; it's a relationship, and the vast proportion of our lives, especially in the West, are anarchist. You and I have an anarchist relationship. There's no possibility we're calling the police. If there was some kind of we were somewhere together and we got violent, we're still not calling the state. If we were at a bar, I'd get kicked out or you'd get kicked out. So this claim that all kind of peace and prosperity is a function of the state is really, from the anarchist perspective, akin to saying, well, if it wasn't for all these exorcists, we'd all be possessed.
What? The fucking anarchist I mean, I can agree with the second part to an extent, but like the first part, no, we do not have anarchist relationships. If my friend punches me in the fucking face, pretty good chance I'm gonna call the police, especially if they're drunk.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Is he trying to do the David Graeber thing where everybody's like anarchist or some shit? Except he's formulating it a lot fucking worse because he's a moron? And by he, I mean Michael. And not Graeber because Graeber's cool. Okay, let's hear him out. Let's hear him out. Let's be fair.
The norm between human beings is peace, not on a large scale because that's a function of governments. Governments give war.
Okay.
But we generally tend to be more peaceful than not for the simple reason, not because people are basically good, but because violence is expensive. Because once there's violence in a situation, then other people who aren't at all associated, you see this in bar fights. Like people jump in to try to quash it because people...
No, they don't. A lot of the time they don't. But as for the people lean more towards peace than violence part, it's kind of mixed. Like, we are a blank slate, and not to mention, it wasn't expensive for most of history because we didn't have a actual currency. It's it's pretty mixed when it comes to human history up until, what is it, like 10,000 years ago when states started to form. That's when wide-scale violence started to happen. I kind of agree. I want to kind of agree with that, but after reading some anthropology stuff, it's a little bit mixed, I would say. But we should still argue that we should lean towards peace because of the fact that it hurts people, not because it's not because it's expensive, even though that does play a role in it in a capitalist system. We should still lean towards, of course, advocating for peace, but probably through a better way than saying, "Oh, it's because it's expensive." Like, so if it wasn't expensive, would you lean more towards violence or like what? Like, that's the sole reason you give here so far, but let's see if he gets another.
Understand very easily that these things tend to escalate and then it becomes very expensive to everyone. It's asymmetrical. Let's put a stop to it, right quick. So how do you get there? Well, there's certain mechanisms. It's delegitimizing the state.
Okay.
It's encouraging aggression, not violent aggression, but just interpersonal aggression and hostility towards agents of the state.
Is he like, what does that mean?
It's casting
know.
Like,
aspersions upon democracy and democratic process, and it's not a numbers game. So
what
a
he
lot of
described is so fucking vague. Like, do I agree in like principle with that? Yeah, generally. Is that super fucking vague and not really answering the question? Like, yeah, we're gonna overthrow the state by being mean to law enforcement agents. Like, how? Like, he's not gonna elaborate. I'm not sure. I haven't read too much into anarcho-capitalism specifically when it comes to their forms of praxis. I think they're generally non-violent, but it doesn't sound like they have a plan. Is it just me, or does it sound like they not have a plan? They don't have actual steps. Like anarcho-syndicalism specifically calls for unions and general strikes and all that kind of stuff. Ancoms generally, especially in the third world, advocate for violent revolution and directly attacking the state physically. You have some anarchists who propose the dual power structure. I think that's a libertarian socialist thing, but I think it kind of be applied to most forms of anarchism, actually. Like I brought up the Zapatistas, Rojava, Sola. You have all of those kinds of things that exist. So while I can agree with it in principle, it's just too fucking vague, and it feels like he just read a Wikipedia page or just asked ChatGPT to explain it like he's 5.
Wait, hold on. I need to reset it.
Mm-hmm.
See? Okay, there we go. Should be good.
But in principle, inherently, I don't actually disagree with that. So, good job, Michael, for saying something that isn't batshit stupid. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing about ANCAPs. We might be able to agree on our criticisms of the state to a certain extent. We hate the state for different reasons, obviously, but there might be certain aspects where we might be able to agree, and that might be a hot take among other anarchists. But I'm just saying the fact of the matter. They might say something that's agreeable or two.
Well, you never.
So I'm trying to stay as unbiased as possible here. I'm not just trying to dogpile this guy just because he's a moron, even though he is a moron.
Getting a majority to agree with you, but your win condition of having a majority is based on democracy. Other systems do not base their win condition on having a majority of people agree with me, and they once every 4 years go into a ballot box and flick a switch.
Yeah, that's right. We use the Electoral College.
It seems like...
Oh, I thought we were about to get an ad, but it looks like it disappeared. Hooray, socialism.
At a small level, an interpersonal level, individual, me and you, we do have quite an anarchist relationship.
No, he's lying to you.
But as you say, when you scale that up, is it realistic that you can allow an entire 330 million person country to exist like that?
Okay, before he answers, shut up. Before he answers, I'll give my answer and the anarchist answer. Countries should not exist. Humans were not made to organize on a 330 million people level. They were, throughout most of history, humans were organized into smaller local communities and societies, at most, possibly like town or city level organization, but they were not made to organize into massive countries where the only way you can effectively govern is by having a small group of people come up with laws and regulations that they can force upon you whenever they fucking want, or else they could toss you in prison or shoot you or tear gas you. Like...
And also
that's the actual anarchist answer generally.
Was that? Nominally apply to them, but don't in actuality.
That's the actual general anarchist answer. The fact that we should not organize into massive countries, but let's see what he has to say. Maybe he will agree with me. Maybe he isn't as dumb as we thought. Let's see.
It's not it wouldn't be a country at that point, but let me give you an example of how this is already a status quo.
Wait, did he actually say that? Let's see. Let me rewind.
Country to exist like...
Is he surprising me?
That?
Well, you wouldn't need. It's not a. It wouldn't be a country at that point. But let me give you
Okay, he defines it as not a country, but let's see if he still agrees with large-scale organization of humans.
an example of how this is already a status quo. Um, every country is in a state of anarchy towards every other country, right?
What?
What?
Ah!
Every country is in a state of anarchy towards.
I thought he was
What the
gonna
fuck
say
does that
something
mean?
good. I thought he was gonna say something good, and then he didn't. Every state.
Every country is in a state of anarchy towards an.
That's
Huh?
dude, that is so fucking stupid. You know why? You know why that's stupid? Two words will demolish this. World superpowers. America has direct hierarchical control over a shit ton of third world countries. Like, you have world superpowers who can literally nuke the fucking planet at any point they want. These people, these states have direct hierarchical control over other states because of their military power. What the fuck do you mean every country is in a state of anarchy with another country? Is this the voluntary association bit? Not to mention, if we are looking at it from his definition of anarchism, which is voluntary association, I don't think third world countries voluntarily want to associate with America by having them get bombed to shit. I don't think they want to voluntarily associate with a country who literally backs coups and supports coups against their current government, which America has done dozens and dozens of times. How is that voluntary association? We force ourselves, we rape other countries, metaphorically speaking, with our government and military might. What the fuck does that mean, dude? Come on! What the fuck you mean? Oh, we're in a state of hierarchy with each other. I sound like a lunatic right now because I'm fucking pissed off, and I really don't wish I could get pissed off this much, but this is such batshit insane shit. I have never heard an anarchist who sounds quite as stupid as this guy, because I don't think there is an anarchist this stupid, at least when it comes to the principles of anarchism.
Yeah, when it comes to the theory.
Yeah, when it comes to the theory, most anarchists, even the ones who only watch fucking video essays, are smarter than this. They're not smarter in other areas, though, but maybe I'll talk about that later.
So if a Canadian kills an American in Mexico, I don't know what happens, you don't know what happens, but we know that there's a process put in place. So if security was private, where it would be a function of your cell phone instead of your geography.
If security was private, Michael, I'm gonna come real close to the mic real quick, and I won't yell, I promise. There's no such thing as private under anarchism, because privatization leads to hierarchy and power and coercion. You are not supposed to have this under anarchism. Don't worry, I backed up from the mic when I screamed.
I know.
Man. Okay, let's rewind a bit just to get the full breadth of the stupidity that we just listened to.
So if security was private, where it would be a function of your cell phone instead of your geography, you know, if I attacked you I have one security firm, you have another one.
Security firms? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's ANCAP shit. What the fuck are you talking about? There's no such thing as firms. Not even under mutualism. What is this guy talking about? Fucking security firms? Give me a break. That's capitalism, man.
And we're at someone else's domicile. What would the situation be? We don't know, but we know it would be resolved in advance without the consumer having to work it out, for the simple reason that if I'm on one phone company and you're at another, it works
There's no such thing as companies, Michael, under anarchism.
out, and we have no idea what happened behind the scenes. If their goal is to provide security and, you know, generate profit at that, they're going to make it as easy for the users as possible.
Wait, did he just say let me rewind. Did he just say generate profit? Am I hearing that correctly? Dude, let me rewind this.
Security and, you know, generate profit at that.
Let me rewind it a little bit more.
You're at another, it works out, and we have no idea what happened behind the scenes. If their goal is to provide security and, you know, generate profit at that, they're going to make it as easy for the users as possible, as opposed to governments who generate funding and generate revenue as a function of creating problems. And
Huh?
Let me walk up
And
real
the
quick. I'm
companies
gonna
don't?
scream in the corner over here real quick. No, I'm just joking. I'm not gonna scream. I don't want to get a noise complaint. But is he defending the concept of generating profit under capitalism through these security firms by exploiting these situations where crimes happen? First of all, the whole idea of anarchism is that it addresses the root causes of crime. So shit like this would very rarely happen, and there would basically be no need for a security firm. Second of all, there would be no security firm because firms are capitalist entities. Like I said, this guy isn't ANCAP and he's just hiding his power level, but the fact that he's defending the concept of making profit under anarchism fucking blows the whole mask off if you know anything about this ideology. He knows jack shit. He is a fucking fraud. This is absolutely ridiculous. How the fuck?
I think another issue is him being like, oh, fucking,
What's the difference between the government creating problems and the private
Yeah.
security firm please? There's listen to me out. Hear me out. The government
Right.
does have reason to create problems right now, and so would private firms. You know why they would have an incentive to create problems? Because they can make money off of it. They can make money off of the problems they're solving. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? What the shit is this? Oh, we're not even halfway, dude. We're not even at the halfway mark. And I want to blow my brains out. You got anything? You could tell I'm very passionate about this shit right now.
Creating stress and having that as an excuse to raise taxes and seize more assets.
Yeah, and you don't think they have an excuse to raise more money through profit, dumbass? The only thing stronger than wanting to raise taxes through the fucking government is personally enriching yourself. That's the only stronger incentive, and that's the main incentive under capitalism, and that would be the main incentive here, Michael. You want to make money. So I'm going to go and cause a problem for you and make money off your problem. That's how it works under anarcho-capitalism, because that's how it would work under regular capitalism. There is no functional difference between wanting to make a profit under the current status quo capitalism and anarcho-capitalism, except it would be a lot worse under anarcho-capitalism because there's no entity to regulate these firms and companies who do this shit. They might, like I said, I think I brought this up before, the only argument I've come across regarding this is the idea of market forces putting these kinds of businesses out of business. But what if they all fucking collude with each other? We've literally seen that right now with regulations on them. There's nothing stopping that from happening on a massive level under market anarcho capitalism. It's insane. You got something to say, or?
No, to be honest, I've not got any more to say for now.
I've got a lot more to say, but I don't want to spend 5 hours on my ass.
From the populace.
Does anarchism need capitalism in order to facilitate that then?
Oh, here we go.
No.
Oh no. Oh no. He's gonna say it. The answer is no, but let's hear what he has to say. I'm all crunched up in my chair right now because we're about to get the answer as to whether this man is an ANCAP or not. Okay, drum roll, please.
No, the original anarchists were violently anti-capitalist.
Okay.
And they viewed capitalism, in a sense, more similar to what we would call nowadays corporatism. And they're
what? I mean, capitalism is capitalism. They're not even viewing it through the corporatism mindset. I've been reading Proud Hunt recently. No, it's not corporatism. They're against the fundamental nature of capitalism and how it inherently creates hierarchy. But let's continue. Maybe he says something cool.
Their analysis of this is spot on. 2020, we saw the systemic destruction of medium and small businesses that was cheered on by corporate America, both with riots and looting here in the States and also the COVID lockdowns. It did wonders for companies like Amazon and Walmart.
That is true.
All the little stores here in New York that I'm a fan of, they went out of business because they couldn't sustain it. So what the original anarchist people like Emma Goldman and
Oh no, don't you dare smear Emma Goldman, you fucking bitch. She was like a fucking feminist anarchist. She was vehemently anti-capitalist in all sense of the word. But let's see what you have to say, man.
even before her, Bakunin and people like that, Kropotkin, what they were concerned about is this collusion between large business and the state. And in that
Yeah, that's
regard, they are
true.
spot on that this is the worst of all. Well, not the worst of all worlds, but it's pretty darn bad.
And by
Okay, and what about small businesses? Because those didn't exist either.
getting rid of the state, you can get rid of that collusion.
Right, because
No, you can't. It would literally inspire more collusion because there's no state to stop them from colluding, dumb fuck. What do you mean? What do you mean? Okay.
you're not going to have a monopoly without the government forcing everyone to be a subscriber to that product.
No, you might not have a monopoly, but you surely will have oligopolies. Because oligopolies are monopolies, except with like a few companies dominating the market over one company or two companies and a duopoly. Does he even know what oligopoly means? I've brought up that word in a fair amount of conversations and people are like, what the fuck is that? But no, he's completely wrong. There's literally more incentive to collude without the state because there's no state to stop them. There's nothing to stop them, in fact.
You would have what governments do in every industry is create barriers to entry for smaller companies because those offer competition to the large dinosaurs that have.
Yeah, the main barrier of entry is the fact that you need a bunch of fucking money, dumbass. You're gonna still have that problem under anarcho-capitalism, dumbass, because you still have financial barriers, dumbass. What?
One of the things that you mentioned, they have more reason to collude. I'm pretty sure it would also create a much harder situation in which to actively overthrow the companies, considering they have, a fucking monopoly on everything.
And also the fact that these companies can literally just hire fucking paramilitary firms to defend themselves, and literally nothing is stopping these paramilitary firms from just shooting everybody. There's literally nothing to do that. At least the state has like the fucking FBI or some shit to investigate people who are just gunning down civilians. There is nothing doing that under anarcho-capitalism. Literally nothing.
I don't think it's even...
This is something that anarcho-capitalists will say, by the way, is the fact that they oppose big companies. I've come across it many times before. They say that. But then we address the fact that smaller companies can grow into big companies, especially when they collude. They kind of go fucking silent.
Yeah.
Or they just repeat themselves and go, but the market, bro, over and over again.
I think one of the other issues as well is that not only can these companies just hire or fucking create private militias out of nowhere, considering they would have a monopoly on everything, they would also have a monopoly on information, and so make it harder for people.
Somebody actually just commented, oh my gosh, I can't believe my little channel got a comment from Louis Ferrigno. Any crises, they make exceptions to the rules. It's in these exceptions the real governance happens. Yeah, pretty much. You can make any fucking crisis you want as a company under capitalism. You can not only hide it by paying it off or some shit on the internet, but also if you're big enough in a oligopoly, you could just fucking shoot anybody who doesn't fall in line because there's nothing stopping you from doing that. And you cannot escape tribalism. I can agree with that to a certain extent. You can't escape tribalism, which is why I'm in favor of the idea of anarchist communities organizing how they want as long as they are able to avoid creating hierarchical structures. I'm a very big in favor of egalitarianism.
Hold on. I've just been called down for tea. I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, she's gonna be back in a second, but since you're here, Lou, we can talk a little bit if you want. How's it going? I might have to fucking edit this down for a YouTube video. I feel like I could probably get a few views out of this. A real anarchist screams at Michael Malice because I'm not joking. I've just been screaming at him for how long has this fucking stream been going on? How do I check? I'm using OBS right now. Oh wait, it's been an hour, and I've been doing nothing but screaming about how stupid this fucking guy is. It is absolutely nuts. And I wasn't calling you names, by the way. I was referring to Mike as I know his positions. Oh, you know his positions more than I do, probably, because this is like, I've seen him on Twitter before, and I've seen him praise Trump and stuff like that. And I've heard by plenty of other anarchists that this guy is literally just an ANCAP, and the fact that he includes like ANCAP authors, like I think it was Rothbard or some shit, into his anarchist handbook, extremely fucking sus. I've seen a video covering some of his stuff about how he wants like markets on security forces, which is absolutely batshit insane. There's like a fucking hour and a half long video about his positions in anarcho-capitalism. And I automatically could tell he's an anarcho-capitalist already when he said a fucking market on security firms. That is absolutely ridiculous. And he just denied that that capitalism is necessary for anarchism. But the issue is everything he's been describing is textbook anarcho-capitalist talking points. And also the fact that he's blatantly talking about including security firms and wanting small companies to exist under anarchism. That is anarcho-capitalism. He's just lying about his positions. And he hasn't even defended any kind of like collectivist arguments. He brought up Bakunin and Kropotkin, but only in the sense of saying that they oppose big corporations. But the thing is, they fucking opposed all businesses. They fundamentally opposed privatization as a whole. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? He's only cherry picking certain aspects of these authors for the sake of pushing a narrative that privatization can exist under anarchism, which is completely false. Damn, I feel so based right now. I wonder how long it's gonna take her for her to drink tea. If somebody's watching this video playback or some shit like that, they could just fast forward to whenever this fucker's mouth starts moving again, I guess. Oh man, but yeah. As for my positions, you probably just came across me since I'm literally a nobody. But I'm also an anarchist, except a real one. I've been looking into property rights recently with Pierre Joseph Proudhon, and been really enjoying his What is Property book, just to kind of articulate my views a little bit better, because I'm looking into eventually possibly debating in Twitter spaces and stuff, because they seem fun, and also the fact that I'm going to be in front of other people, which means that I'm going to have to very well articulate my views. I generally support most strains of anarchism, like mutualism, anarcho-syndicalism, anarcho-communism, participatory economics, which is one of the ones I lean to, personally. But generally, as long as humanity organizes in a more realistic manner than fucking, states and countries, and rather on a smaller level, and they avoid creating hierarchical power structures, then I'm pretty much fine with it. Like, the Zapatistas seem pretty cool. They're not perfect, but they seem pretty cool. You have Rojava, not perfect, but they seem pretty cool. Psycho Sola, I think they're in Venezuela. They could be better, obviously. None of these are perfect, but generally speaking, I am fine with how they are organized. I think one of them is called the Landless Workers Movement. It has a lot of people in it that are helping each other out, and they're pretty cool, from what I know of them. Those are like some modern examples that literally exist right now, by the way. Get back here, Penelope. Are you back?
That I am, yes, I have.
Yay! You just chug down that cheek, glub, 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 to get back here.
No. I have the food with me. My mother made a curry.
Your mother?
So I can actually enjoy something about this now.
About this horrid experience we are having.
Yeah. Not that you aren't great company, of course.
I am amazing company, for I am passionate about my cause.
Well, now you just made me want to throw up.
Yeah, anarchism makes you want to throw up, you fucking capitalist stinky.
I'm not a capitalist.
You're an anarcho-capitalist! I'm just joking. Okay, let's continue on.
If I ever become an ANCAP for some reason, shoot
I'm
me.
gonna fly over to the fucking UK and I'm gonna come smack you silly and go, snap out of it, goddammit. You're gonna have to pay for those cheese and crumpets.
Effectively seize large parts of the market.
Okay, let's rewind a little bit just so
I
we
don't
can
need
get a
all
little
this
bit of
And
a...
also, and the
There we
state.
go.
And in that regard, they are spot on that this is the worst of all.
Yeah, in that regard, I want to know what he thinks about everything else they have to say.
Well, not the worst
Yeah.
of all worlds, but it's pretty darn bad.
And by getting rid of the state, you can get rid of that collusion.
Right, because you're not going to have a monopoly without the government forcing everyone to be a subscriber to that product.
Here's the thing, right? Theoretically, if we were starting from scratch, there might be some semblance of truth to that. The problem is the fact that monopolies and all of these centralization of power in the market have already formed, and they do not need the government in order to sustain themselves. They flat out don't. They'd probably grow larger without the regulations that are holding them back from hiding their true power level. Let's see. The Mennonites in South America are inspiring to me. They don't have the no-tech rules like Amish, but they only use what they can make in a village and from parallel societies. I was structurally a bit different, but there's a lot to learn. There is a lot to learn about, like, tribes who are supposedly low-tech and stupid. And I say stupid because I was listening on a Twitter space a couple days ago of some dipwads arguing that these tribes without that much technological advancements are stupid because they don't have tech. And if it made me mad because I've been watching videos about how these guys literally get their food and stuff, and they are so advanced in finding out what plants do what, how to filter their water and clean all of these things for their bodies to be able to digest it properly. It is absolutely insane how much knowledge about nature these people have. They've literally built infrastructure out of like wood and leaves and like palm trees and shit to be able to withstand tsunamis over in like Eastern Asia or some shit like that. That's how smart these people are. I want to see these fucking rich ass white dudes from America try surviving in their fucking conditions for a month. They would fold so fucking fast. Hooray! You're so smart. You know how to press a few buttons on a microwave to nuke your food. Good job. Hooray.
Yeah, like
so smart.
I'm obviously not an anthropologist or even a fucking archaeologist yet, but one thing that I've learned quite well from watching like fucking mini Minuteman videos and whatnot is that tribes are so much more goddamn intelligent than we give them credit for.
They are extreme. Like, here's the thing that I learned that they did, for example.
Intelligent as us. They just don't have the knowledge that we have. That's
they
the
just
difference.
don't. The only thing that they don't have is the fact that they don't have the resources to be able to create all of this highly technological stuff. And also there's like a bunch of different factors contributing into it. But one of the things is absolutely their cultural values, because we've seen cases where these people, like fucking first worlders, go travel to them and they're like offering them help and they say no, we just like our way of life, we like it simplistic, we like this, and that's entirely respectable. And the fact that fucking Native Americans and stuff are smeared as like savages and shit, meanwhile these guys learn how to do agroforestry, they learn how to do controlled fires in order to help the environment as a whole, to prevent from overpopulation, and something that has to do with like minerals going into the ground to help further regrow trees and stuff like that. There's some crazy stuff they've discovered that we literally had, that they literally taught the Europeans, like fucking how to farm crops. They didn't know how to do that. The Native Americans did. They had to teach them that. It's more of a difference in what they know rather than a difference in how to create certain tools that make everything more convenient. That's how I see it.
Hell, yeah, on the point of Native Americans, you oftentimes have it being a indictment of them is, oh, they were cannibals, but last I checked they did ritualistic cannibalism, as in,
not even most of them didn't even do cannibalism. That's just like a smear. Of course some of them did, but not all of them.
Yeah, for those that did, it was a form of ritualistic cannibalism where it's like, oh, a member of the community has died. Let's preserve their memory in their body by eating them and whatnot, or doing this and
Yeah.
that. And like one of the more controversial theories within history, obviously, you know, the more developed a country is, or just the more developed the society is in general in terms of technology, it's likely the more war it's been in and
The more what? You're cutting
been.
out.
As in like the more wars it's been in, the more technologically advanced it's been, because war kind of necessitates technological advancement.
The
Because of
cannibalism
how,
was rampant. Let's not sweep. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen, like, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen, like, overwhelming evidence that it was, like, rampant or anything. Like, but they didn't hunt people. They just act the sick and injured. I don't know what act means, but ate the sick and injured. I don't know how many tribes did that, but I do find it as a generalization of these tribes, which were actually pretty intelligent. Like, one of the ones that David Graeber brings up in his book is a tribe called the Wendat, who were pretty egalitarian. They didn't really have formalized structures, and the only chieftains they did have were more as delegates and orators that represent the tribes, if anything. And one of them, his name starts with a K, I don't remember the exact name, is like super well spoken. He was so well spoken to the point where it even shocked Europeans how well spoken this tribesman was. It's absolutely insane how smart these people actually are. And they're not perfect, of course. Some of them are cannibals. They do war and stuff like that, obviously. But what my issue with the idea of IQ and intelligence is the fact that so many people base it solely off of technological advancements when there's so many different fields and ways you could be intelligent in one place and not another. It's very oversimplified in the first world. You know why? Because people are fucking stupid in the first world. And let me go get some water and I'll elaborate when I get back. You could talk
right.
to 1 second. The Mayans, that's not true at all. That's one example. There are like 600 different tribes in Native America.
Oh, this is lovely food. Oh wait, what page did I?
Just gotta pee.
Shit.
1 second.
Let's see. Page. Oh, I got to chapter 4. Good.
Okay, I'm back. Let me see if he said anything else. Talking about the Mayan accounts, I meant. Oh. I wasn't talking about the Mayans alone. I was talking about like tribes more in general, and especially the Native Americans. They were like smeared as like savages and cannibals and all that shit, when that's not entirely the case. A lot of them were pretty civil. You, of course, like I said, of course you had wars and stuff like that, but how's that any fucking different from what we do today? Which is arguably worse, because we're blowing children into fucking tiny pieces. We literally see Israel blow like toddlers' heads off and turn them into fucking putty. Like, we're literally no different than fucking tribes were like 300 years ago, in my opinion.
I mean, hell, we were doing the same shit that not we, but like a lot of modern day fucking idiots will condemn them for, like, you know, scalping.
Yeah, we're literally
during
doing shit like that. It's literally just the reasons are different. We're doing it to scare people and spread our influence. They did it because of religion. That's literally the only
well, yeah,
difference.
and like with fucking what was it with Metacom's war? You actively had the English scalping Native American children so that they can make £3 specifically because scalping the children and cutting their heads off
I think it's
was
changed to
more
self electric
advantageous
and
because
guns.
they
Yeah,
weighed
you're right, Lou.
less and you carry more of them.
Another
Like,
thing of the fact of the matter is that like Europeans in like the medieval times would literally eat poor people because they thought it would heal them of like disease and shit like that. I forget the ins and outs is the exact reason why, but they literally committed cannibalism for like some medical reasons, which is really fucking stupid, but we got to get back to this.
You would have the
Yes.
what governments do in every industry is create barriers to entry for smaller companies because those offer competition to the large dinosaurs that have effectively seized large parts of the market in the past.
Dinosaurs.
I had Andy No on the show last week, and he said that Antifa identify as anarcho-communists and revolutionary Marxists.
My opinion on Antifa, it ranges kinda because there's some Antifa who are pretty cool and only show up as like counter protesters and actual neo-Nazis. And then you have those where like I've seen some literally beat up old women and shit like that. With a large portion of Antifa, I'm not sure they're even well read in theory. And just have the stereotypical view if I could do whatever the fuck I want. Like we saw what happened with fucking Chaz, right? That shit was an absolute bomb. They had no clue what they were doing and just made a complete mockery out of the ideology.
Yeah, I don't know much about Antifa, but
They're
from what I
kind of
do know,
stupid. They range from
their
pretty.
practice is
What was that?
I was saying their practice is pretty shit from what I know of.
I'll just say this. It ranges from being pretty okay and not really effective per se, but they do push back against neo-Nazis, which is pretty cool. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where they're completely batshit insane and beat up old people. Which is why I'm pretty mixed on them. It's controlled ops. It could be controlled ops at least.
How close or far is this from the
I'm expecting him to really bash into them.
purity of a normal anarchist?
It's closer than it's pretty darn close. A lot of ANCAPs, narco-capitalists, think Antifa doesn't have a right to call themselves anarchists, and they certainly do. The early anarchists were very, especially in the UK. The term in
Hey, that's you.
the UK was synonymous with terrorist. This is why the Sex Pistols song, "Anarchy in the UK," was so shocking because Johnny Rotten is explicitly saying, "I want to destroy passersby." It was this, and they were also called nihilists at the time. This was an ideology where we're going to have violent revolution. We're going to, blow up businesses or business people and assassinate. So there is this very long history, for better or for worse, with the black flag that Antifa is in regards itself in some regards, in some senses, as an heir to.
Does that not make it difficult?
I was kind of zoning out there. I'm not gonna lie, but let's continue.
Yeah, so was
It didn't sound that important though, admittedly. Just that they can identify as anarchists pretty much. Which okay, I guess.
Difficult to try and get people on board with, though. If the thin end of the wedge, like the front end of the funnel, is rioting and looting and
yeah, that's the thing about fucking Antifa and some people who kind of cosplay as anarchists is that they target the working class with looting and rioting and stuff, and that is so fucking ineffective and counteractive and contradictory to what anarchists want. It is completely contradictory to what we want, and which makes me think they are not serious individuals.
Yeah, that's why the Socialist Party tends to really not support groups such as Antifa, because it's like those are on the surface coordinated acts of terrorism, but in reality they're just individuals fucking attacking the working class for, on the surface, a good political reason, but it's not the working class's fault, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, are they technically implicit because they aren't doing anything to help out? Yes, but at the same time they have their own wants and needs that aren't being met by the state, and so they are actively trying to save themselves before all else because capitalism incentivizes them. And you don't suddenly stop incentivizing people by trying to kill them.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to add chat to my screen for the fucking stream real quick. I have no clue how to do that. Just because somebody's talking right now and I want to fucking put that on. OBS is fucking
I would
complex,
also like
motherfucker,
to.
sometimes. I might just have to figure that out later. I'll respond when he says something though. He said my point about controlled ops. I'm not sure if it's necessarily controlled ops because these people are usually like fucking millennials or Gen Z and really stupid ones at that. But there's actually another video we could go over after this, which is like 3 minutes long, of a libertarian socialist confronting Charlie Kirk. And I was screaming at my screen because of how fucking stupid the child is. But let's continue.
Violence.
I thought it
and
was an
black.
anarchist that was doing it, or was it
What?
both?
Well, I mean, he identified as a libertarian socialist at first, and then he identified as an anarchist, and then it went downhill from there.
Flags.
Okay.
I'm just curious, by the way, do I sound like trying to practice how I articulate myself for like debates and stuff going forward? How, on a rate of 1 to 10, where would you think I am so far in terms of like
I'd probably
rhetoric
say,
and
like,
stuff?
I'd probably say like maybe an 8. You're maybe a bit too fast, but other than that, I think you're fine.
That's called being Destiny
Well,
or Ben
yeah,
Shapiro.
but
It makes me sound smart, but I could talk a little bit slower. I don't know why I talk so fast, honestly.
I mean, I just personally, okay, to be fair, the average wannabe politics head will look at someone speaking fast as, you know, someone who's really
Intellectual.
smart and cool. Yeah. But when you're going up against, but when you're dealing with a crowd that are actually like experienced, which is very rare, but still, when you're dealing with a crowd that
My mind just races at like 1,000,000 miles per hour when I'm fired up about something, and I don't know why. My
Yeah, I know,
confidence
you're
level
autistic,
goes up the
that's why.
more too, depending on the topic, and I feel very confident in calling this guy an idiot.
You're
So
autistic. That's
yeah, that is true. I am indeed autistic. I'm just trying to boost my confidence level up as well when it comes to
no,
these kind
that's
of
good.
things.
You should do.
Some black bloc. Like,
Anyway,
that doesn't seem like a-
Black bloc and stuff would absolutely be the Antifa tactics that are being described here would absolutely work during or not work. I'd absolutely defend them in like a war or in the case of like an authoritarian ruler taken over, like the Black Bloc and Antifa actually existed during the Nazi Germany times. They obviously lost, but I do support what they were doing. Right? Because it makes complete sense to be fighting directly against an authoritarian state. But when it's happening under something like America, where we aren't really that authoritarian in the grand scheme of things compared to other countries, it just looks out of place. It looks like LARPing, to be frank.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just making sure my dog's okay. He's walking into my another room right now behind me, and he's walking into the living room. Okay.
a very fun world for me to step into.
I am disturbed by how much of a recruiting tool that has now become.
I'm not sure I'm really disturbed. I'm just like not shocked. Your speaking voice is good. I can't just debate tactics so you aren't being pressured. That's true. Yeah. That's true. I'm gonna try to do maybe more Twitter. I would do Twitter Spaces, but at the same time, I really don't want to show my Twitter handle because I've said some really nasty shit to people on there. I've said some pretty nasty and provocative shit. Not even some of it I don't even actually view as my actual views. It's just that I like to say really provocative shit to piss people off sometimes, and I feel like some of the stuff that I say could come across as pro-violence and wanting. I shouldn't even say that, to be honest. I take that back. I'm not pro fucking going out and killing people. Wink, wink.
He's lying. He's lying.
I'm lying. I got that CEI truth serum. They injected alcohol into me.
Of course they did. Of course. It wasn't you that chose to inject it.
I blame the CIA for all of my faults. Um,
Oh, don't let Mango hear you saying that. Don't let Mango hear that.
yeah. Oh, wait, actually, I do have a debate with Tankies from a while back. I was not as well versed as I am now, but we can definitely. Do you want to go over that after this, or how much time do you have?
100%. Considering, it's sort of, as a socialist, mid-job to try and be like, look, not a fucking tankie. Don't support tankies. Like,
Tankies, tanky top. I'm sorry, I
fucking.
just like British accents for some reason. It's funny.
Well, according to most British people from the fucking South, they think that I'm American. So
Really? What the
yeah,
fuck? You do not
so
sound.
many.
You want to know what
so
an
many different
American
fucking
sounds like from the deep south? It sounds like this.
I don't fucking.
I
so
fucked
many
my
different
sister
fucking.
last night, and it felt good. A
Reminds
tanky.
me of
Oh,
that.
the person's asking what a tanky is in chat. A tanky is a Marxist-Leninist. Examples of those are people who support North Korea, they support China, and they support the Soviet Union and Stalin. Those are the main things that they try to run apologia for. But
Mm.
yeah, I fucked my sister last night. It was nice and warm in there. I'm just.
I feel
I'm
like
just.
she'd also point
I don't
out
have a
that, like,
sister. I wish.
even though from what little I know of actual like socialist theory, I would cautiously describe myself as a Trotskyist. I have a hell of a lot of
Really?
Trotsky simultaneously.
I can't be friends with you anymore.
For
Get out of
one,
here. I'm just joking. I'm joking.
No, yeah. For one, I'm part of a Trotskyist political party. For another, I do kind of fundamentally agree with his idea on a lot of his takes on the peasantry. I find to be kind of fucking abhorrent and really goddamn stupid. And a lot of his own ideas and the way that he went about his actual praxis is fucking disgusting and stupid.
Indeed.
Like, he did terribly with the military.
Is it just me, or does he
And
look like he was a war chanter?
he 100% would have been. He 100%. And like, if for whatever reason everyone in the Soviet Union was shit, they were in politics and Trotsky was able to get everything done that he wanted to, I think he would have actually been
Horrible.
to a good degree better than Stalin, but not what was needed.
Yeah.
Especially because of how like much of a war hawk he was. I mean, like, you should try to spread the revolution everywhere because we know what capitalist nations are realistically.
Yeah.
If they will, if they, this is a massive tangent, obviously, but I'm just
Yeah,
using it to
yeah. I
explain
got you.
Yeah, like,
let's continue on this though. How much time do you have?
I have hours.
Hours,
It
really?
is.
Shit, I
Well, it
wanted
is
to work
40.
out today because I didn't yesterday, but at the same time, I actually have the rest of the week to work out because my MMA gym is fucking closed down for the week because of
Oh,
New Year's. So I guess I could work out some other
yeah.
time.
I mean, it's up to you, but like, yeah, it's like 6:45 to me. I tend to go to sleep. So
I'm sorry, what was that? The issue is culture says from bottom to top. That's why the proletariat revolves. Things move slower up top. Yeah. But yeah, let's continue watching this. Let's try to finish this soon because the debate I had against Tankies was like 44 minutes.
okay, yeah. In that case, let's get through that, and then I can explain my Trotskyism a bit more,
Yeah,
and also,
we need to try
mind
to
you,
keep the
I'm saying
tangents down.
cautiously Trotskyist because I haven't run enough theory to
Yeah.
say that. Moving on.
In America, because the degree to which people have become comfortable with violence towards state actors and people who they regard as opposed to them is happening at an astronomical pace.
I mean, now we're justifying violence against healthcare CEOs, so he's right.
Was stormed a couple
Although
of weeks ago.
I think the justification for this violence has always been there to a certain degree. I do think that, like,
well, I mean, it's becoming mainstream now.
Yeah, like, it definitely decreased for a while post World War II. Well, in America, over here, we were actively going toe to toe with the police in the 1980s. Fucking, but
yeah.
God, my country's so based sometimes.
Rioters, whatever you want to call them, they put up a gallows in front of Capitol
Is there a way
Hill.
to fucking speed this up a bit? Here we go. Playback speed. Let's
Yeah.
set it at 1.25.
He's such a
And
slow
I
speaker.
Ah!
think there is an enormous sense,
Oh shit, my brother's dog is in here. I hope she doesn't pee.
especially with these lockdowns, an enormous sense of people becoming comfortable with the idea of doing very bad things. And I'm extremely concerned about this because violence follows its own logic. It's not the kind of thing where you know if you just shoot the king, everything resolves itself. Once you start going down that road, no one has any idea where it's going to end up, other than what you are guaranteed of is more oppression, more violence, innocent people being hurt, and it's really something of enormous concern to me in the beginning of 2021, and because there is this attempt by the corporate media here to kind of sweep it under the rug. And when you have a population that's become comfortable with the idea of violence and they're kind of ignored, A, they're going to be able to do it and no one's going to see it coming. And B, they're going to be encouraged to do it because now they feel that they've been made invisible, nothing to lose.
Well, yeah, the people should. This is gonna sound so fucking extremist. The people should become okay with violence against the state because let's say collectively tomorrow everybody became okay with the idea of overthrowing the state, they would instantly lose. The state would instantly lose. Literally, the only reason it has power is because we give it power. If everybody collectively decided to become an anarchist tomorrow, then the state would literally be able to do nothing besides possibly shoot some people. But even then, this is America. We have 300 million guns circulating and yada yada yada. But yeah, the
And if
state would
everyone-
the state would lose within like 5 days if everybody decided to turn against it.
Yeah, and realistically, if everyone decided to turn against it, you'd be having a lot of the military turning against it. I mean,
Yeah, the military would be turning against them too, probably.
this
So
is a
they
debate
literally
that I've
have
had quite-
nothing.
Yeah, this is a debate that I've had quite a bit where I openly say, like, realistically, without the military, like, this isn't the fucking storming of the winter.
Literally,
Without the military
yeah, literally
on your side. Yeah, sorry, without the military on your side, 99 times out of you're not getting it. But
I'm sorry, you keep cutting out.
are you fucking kidding me?
Well, for that sentence, that is. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well,
but regardless,
yeah, what I was saying is that, like, I've had this debate quite a bit where I specifically say, if you don't have the military on your side in somewhere like America, 99 times out of 100, your revolution will, because
what revolution will
the
what? You
military
just cut
operation,
out there. Your revolution will win, I assume.
the revolution will fail
Oh.
without the support.
Oh yeah, for
without the
sure.
support of some of the military.
The military and law enforcement are literally the only two things that can enforce the state's power. If you get rid of them,
Yeah.
there's literally nothing stopping us from walking in there and shooting them in the head and taking over.
Repressive state apparatus.
Yeah, that's the thing with the dictatorship of the proletariat. They want to overthrow the state by killing everybody and then just replacing them. That is a whole other can of worms that I have issues with, though. But so we got to continue with this because I also have to brush my teeth. I forgot to brush them.
Didn't you say at the very beginning, though, that being averse to state actors was part of the anarchists' agenda?
Yeah, but averse doesn't mean like shooting people in the head. It means contempt. It means do not regard the cops as heroes. I was on Tim Pool
Nobody does. I mean, some people do that, but nobody fucking does that already. Whoopee. Now what?
not that long ago with Alex Jones, and one of my favorite Britishisms is they call the cops the filth. In fact,
We call them the pigs here in America.
this is actually a funny story. I was
Wait,
on BBC.
we don't call them the filth. Excuse me. What?
Oh, we call them the filth, bruv.
We call them like bobbies. That's as close to calling them
Bobbies?
that I can think.
Gosh dang it, Bobby. King of the Hill
Yeah,
reference.
because they were created by because the police were first created by Sir
By who?
Bob.
Sir sorry.
Like a British politician called Sir
Oh.
Robert Peel created the police over here, and so we call them because Sir Bobby Peel, you know.
Jesus Christ,
I've
you
never
people are
fucking heard
weird.
them called the Phil. That's
I
just
mean,
a
this
fucking
guy's American. You can't expect him to know You can't expect him to know anything about the fucking Europe.
He's an ANCAP. I wouldn't expect him to know anything in the
He wouldn't happen to know anything in the field, bruv.
fuck
Go.
off.
Like this would have been 15 years ago. And I always thought, and maybe I'm wrong, that the British are a lot more culturally liberal than the States, that we're all more fuddy-duddies here.
Is that true?
Sorry, is what true?
The British are a lot more liberal than the fuddy-duddy Americans.
I would argue no. We are much more closely aligned with like conservative socialism than anything. I know
Jesus Christ.
But like, yeah, I know that this country, in terms of its social policy, is fucking abysmal. In terms of its economic policy, most people here like pretty progressive economic politics. But in terms of like actual fucking good social policy, absolutely not.
Damn.
People are so backwards on it.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe this was a misconception.
Yeah, this country's
And
bad.
the
Yeah, it is a misconception, buddy. We got a Britbonger right here saying otherwise.
interviewer said, "Oh, Michael, you know this blog you have, you guys take a lot of shots at the cops." And I said, "Well, it's like my dad. I was an immigrant from the Soviet Union, Russia." I said,
Suka bliet.
my dad always told me, and I said this innocently, you know, because I thought this is Europe, they're going to have the same perspective as the Russian perspective. My dad always told me, wherever you go, wherever you end up in the world, the stupidest people are always the cops. The guy audibly gasped, and he said, "Michael,
Kind
this
of
is a
true.
family."
What was that?
I said kind of true. To the stupidest people are always the cops.
That is true. I just
Yeah,
saw
the-
a
the-
video
when you-
of cops
when
shooting
you
like
disagree
27.
with-
So what was that?
I was saying I do disagree to an extent because I know that in required to actually be college educated to even have a chance of.
They
obviously
don't need
doesn't mean
college
that you're, like,
education here in America. Literally, all they need
Yeah.
to do is go through police training academy where they teach you to shoot, and that's it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
pretty
being a
much.
bit hyperbolic there, but you know,
Show
Yeah,
and
but like,
change the
we all know what you mean.
yeah.
subject, and I was very surprised to see that having been the case. But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
So Carl
You know what is random thing? You know what Michael Malice's hairstyle reminds me of here? Do you have you ever seen that guy who had that account who really hated women on Twitter? And then you see him in real life, see what he actually looks like, and he kind of looks like that obsessed fan from Elder Scrolls 4.
Oh yeah.
You see that? You saw his fucking haircut where it looks like he just has like a little puff of hair on the top of his head.
I fucking hate the fact that you're right.
He looks like that. He's got that hairstyle.
He does.
Look at him. Look at that. The only difference is he has hair on the side of his head a little bit.
To see that.
Look at that.
Having been the case, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
So Carl Benjamin says
That's
this,
what
and
happens when you drink too much soy milk.
I totally agree with him that the British are very procedural. Like if
Okay.
you look at there was those scenes at the Capitol Hill riots where the rioters had broken into the Capitol, but as they were walking through one of the main halls or atriums, had stayed inside of the ropes.
Yes.
That is so British. That is precisely the sort of thing that a British person would do. You know, they'd
Is that true?
What, stay inside of the ropes? Fuck no.
Ah!
Have
This
you
is
seen the
so
2010
Americanized,
London riots?
dude.
Hell, have you seen the 2010 London riots? Hell, have you seen port riots? They were burning hotels down with people alive in it.
Jesus Christ, these people are so fucking
They were
Americanized, dude.
Burn immigrants alive.
They watched like one of those episodes on SpongeBob of like SpongeBob or Patrick becoming like British with their "Oh, good day, sir. Would you like a Krabby Patty?" accent and shit like that, and that's how they got their views of the British.
make sure. I saw a
Honestly,
guy
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
the other day who was outside of a butcher's shop. This is before lockdown, and he had gloves on, mask on, smoking. Gloves on, mask on, smoking outside of it. Very procedural in the way that we go about things. And perhaps that's contributed to it a little bit because obviously the police are basically the
That is very-
enforcement of the procedure.
Huh?
British, to be fair.
That is British.
That is very British, to be fair. You know, having gloves on, masks on, and then smoking. That is very much.
Jesus Christ, y'all are so fucking weird.
Right.
Well,
What about
Eh? Can
Shut-
defend that? Miss Unsanitary?
well, what the fuck are you calling me
Well-
misunsanitary for?
Well...
Just because my country has terrible dental hygiene.
Is that
Okay.
true? Is there even any truth to that?
Oh yeah, no, the dental hygiene here is fucking abysmal. You want to know
Ugh.
why?
Why? It's not covered under single payer?
Privatized. Pri-
That makes sense.
Mhm.
That reminds me, oh my god, that reminds me of that Patrick Star meme where it's the Patrick from like the primordial days. He's smiling with his fucking gross ass teeth, and the caption is like UK residents be like, imagine not having free health care. Have you seen that one before?
No, I have, yeah.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that I will give to Americans. You'll have dental health care. You'll have it to a degree.
Yeah.
You'll have it. We don't. You have it.
Well, so
We
you
can at least
mentioned
afford to die.
That is true.
about the Capitol Hill and the other riots that we've seen over the last year. Do you look on that and see it as a misuse of your particular political ideology?
Why would it be a misuse of your political ideology? You better clarify. That's not my ideology. That's That's fascism.
Oh no, I think whenever you have politicians hiding in fear, as the way they had the rest of us hiding in fear locked in our homes for a year, the imagery there cannot ever be unseen. Everyone's going to stand there and tell you how strong the regime is and how powerful it is. And when you have 20 people who can just walk into the Capitol, including a guy from Burning Man, I think literally he was a Burning Man person, this demonstrates that, for better or for worse, this is not a system that is going to be able to protect you. And that is the big selling point of the state. It's that you give up your choices and we're going to keep you safe. Big Brother's watching. I know they have those signs unironically in London. And it's like, well, they're lying to you. So if they can't even keep these, you know, D-list barbarians out from their, sacred temple, they're not going to be able to protect you. And this is going to cause a lot of people to recalibrate or their view of the state and the state authorities.
I do actually agree with that. The fact that
Yeah.
we can literally just barge in and put these people on the back foot and scared is a testament to how ineffective the state actually is to protecting everybody. He does have a point there. The issue with is that what's that noise? Are you playing video games?
No, not at all.
I recognize that sound from somewhere.
No, sorry, excuse me.
Jesus. A British
You
bird.
might have. Shut the fuck up. Hold on a second. I just need to check.
Yeah, that's a good take he has though. It's just that I don't. He's saying that in a good way in the sense that he actually supports Jan 6. The issue with supporting Jan 6 though is the fact that their goal is to take it over with an even worse government, which is why I say I don't support it. Good in concept, evil in practice is how I like to put it.
I wouldn't even say like particularly good in concept because of the reason that they were doing it. It's like, oh, a democratic election happened. Let's overthrow a democratic election.
I mean, the other issue is the fact that we don't. The other issue is they're not even anarchists, to be clear. But even if they were, we don't have the dual power structure built up to be able to rival the state already, which means there will be a power vacuum where somebody else takes over, which is something that I've seen people critique before, which is valid in the sense that if you don't have an alternative already structured and ready to take over the state, then you're fucked. But if you do, like the Zapatistas, if they grow big enough and overthrow the state, that means it would succeed because, or it likely would, because there's already something to take place before the power vacuum forms. Which is something that nobody fucking thinks about because the state makes them stupid.
So you see people break into the Capitol building or take downtown Portland or create a Capitol Hill autonomous zone. How do you stop people from losing so much faith in society as a whole that they become nihilistic? Even if they don't necessarily subscribe to the anarchist movement, you could just think, oh God, like I had all of my faith in the state and now what have I got left to support me?
Well, that's the goal, is to have them to lose all faith in the state. Now, if there's people whose entire sense of identity was faith in the state and now they feel lost, I can't help you. You're not one of my people. I think both of those positions are untenable and kind of sad. But I think once it's like everyone leaving home. It's like once you realize that this is all a sham, this is enormously liberating because now you're either free to, or in a negative sense, are forced to confront your own destiny and confront your own choices. This is one of the things that
I do agree with that, I think. I was zoning out a little bit, but I don't see any issue here so far. It's actually what I'm reading in Proud Hunt's book. The fact that you have two choices. You can either seize the means of production and seize the power for yourself and have it communally owned, which of course he doesn't believe in because he's a fucking capitalist. or you can give up and be dominated, pretty much. That's something that I actually read relatively recently from Proud Hun. So, good job, Michael. You have a good take. Now let's get back to the bad stuff so I can yell at
He's
you
had
some
a
more.
he's had a few. He's had a few. They're very
Yes.
basic good takes, but
I mean, like, they're common
had
sense
some.
takes pretty much that I think even a capitalist should have, honestly.
People are crazy about these masks. They're being told this is giving you a sense, if you follow orders, you're going to be safe. It doesn't matter what the efficacy is. What matters is I get to be obedient, and in turn I'm being guaranteed that my life isn't in danger. It's nonsensical, but that's where we are.
Is there a valley of despair that newly indoctrinated anarchists tend to slip into? There must be a point at which you go, right, okay, all of the old rules are gone, and none of the new rules and the new freedoms, liberties that must come along with being an anarchist they haven't arrived yet.
Well, yeah, but that's not exclusive to anarchism. That's the danger of cynicism, right? Once you realize, you've been lied to all your life, and not mistake, systemically lied to, there's the danger of getting into this stupid catcher in the rye mindset. Everyone's a phony. This all sucks. I'm going to listen to, The Cure, write in my diary with fingerless gloves. So my goal is to kind of speak to those people and be like slap them upside the head metaphorically and be like, you're being silly. This is teenage, nonsense. And now's your opportunity to be an adult and make your mark on the world.
Jesus Christ, there's the 1 hour version of this. I don't want to watch that.
Oh my god.
This was already painful enough to get through. The latter half is pretty decent. I don't disagree in principle there, surprisingly. But when this guy describes what anarchism is supposed to be, I want to punch his fucking face and shave his dumbass head. Because I'm gonna punch you in the face, stick you in the barber's chair, and just shave off that sad excuse of a hairline that you have.
Yeah.
He is so fucking stupid when it comes to actual anarchist theory. It's not even close.
I feel like, I feel like even though, I haven't read any fucking anarchist theory, I could do a better job of arguing, explaining anarchism than he. I mean, to be fair, it's not surprising because but still, like,
all he
if
has
I-
correct is the fucking idea behind violence against the state. Yeah, you're supposed to make them look weak and stuff, but the issue is the fact that what you would want to replace with them instead is literally just a corporate state. You want to replace the state with a corporatized state.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, I pretty much versed all my final opinions during the screaming portion of this. I'm not sure if I should edit this down and post it as a YouTube video or what. I surprisingly have 6 concurrent viewers. I never expected that. But how do I change the fucking title of the stream? So
let's see if we get more.
Yeah, let's put tankie in the title now.
Base against that ML.
How the fuck do I edit this? I should have recorded this now that I think about it instead of fucking streaming it.
Oh well, it's fine.
Fuck. I don't want to end it. Shit.
During this time, as a preliminary to what you mentioned, moving on to
I'm gonna go brush my teeth. Actually, you can talk, and I'll be right back.
Right.
Oh wow, 9 reviews. That's interesting.
All right, so I'll explain what my own ideology would personally be. I'll explain probably again when he gets back, but I I have identified politically as a socialist for a couple of years now. I've only really started reading theory, so it's more of a socialist out of a pragmatic sense of I know that we get shit done, as opposed to I know what sort of socialist I am, or I know that it can, because liberals and soc dems tend to be really fucking terrible at getting anything done at all, whereas the socialist the United Kingdom has actually resulted in a hell of a lot of good things coming out of the woodworks. But I am actually reading theory to be able to say, okay, do I legitimately agree with socialism? Do I agree more with communism? Anarchism? Do I think that none of these can work, and so I'm actually a soc dem, etc.? For now, I would say that in terms of political theory, I would align more with Trotskyism, but in terms of actual political practice, would align more with someone such as Salvador Allende in Chile. I'm pretty damn sure I'm saying his name incorrectly, but I mean, hell, I'm reading a book on him currently, Revolutionary Democrats by Victor Clark. It's actually part of a series called Revolutionary, which I think goes over quite a lot of the different socialists, anarchists, communists, black liberationists over time, a couple of feminists as well. Just a load of
Not
different
anarchy, but a
people
great.
across the
Let's
political
see.
spectrum that moved
I
the
am
open
back.
window.
Let's see. He typed more.
Okay.
Nietzsche, the gay science. What the fuck?
Hmm?
Nietzsche has a book called The Gay Science is what helped me clarify my positions more than anything. Nietzsche shows his work in that book. I was able to read it too. Carl Schmitt, the concept of
Fair.
political is important. Read. It's not anarchy, but great. Okay, interesting.
Oh yeah, as I was saying while you were gone, obviously I've only started reading theory very recently,
Hmm.
or I am why. But in terms of political theory, I imagine I would align more with Trotskyism as a socialist. But in terms of actual political praxis, I align more with someone like Salvador Allende in Chile.
Yeah.
Because he was fucking based and awesome.
Let me
And the
see.
book I'm reading on him. Hmm?
Let me see if I can pull this over and change the fucking title of the stream. Gonna have to give me a second because now we're gonna watch my old tankie debate. I secretly record. Oh wow, there's a whole anarchy debate between Michael Malice and Yaron Brook from 3 years ago. This guy was making the rounds back in 2021.
Should watch that another day. You know.
Yeah, let's make it another year, please, for the love of God. Oh my gosh, I remember I have a stream where I reacted to Mike Israel talking about communism. Okay, let me see here real quick.
I don't know anything really about Mike Israel, but
He is pretty smart when it comes to sports science. He is a complete fucking moron when it comes to politics, unfortunately. Okay, dashboard.
Okay, so about what I expected then.
Content. Shit, man. How do I edit? Oh wait, here we go. Let's see. Michael Malice is a moron. Change that to reacting to my old tankie debate. That's my new title. And I'm gonna find it. God, no, don't turn off streamer mode, please. I do not want to. Oh, wow, I could just turn it full screen. That's interesting.
According to this Cash App card,
I do not care about your stupid sponsor. Go eat your ass. Let's see here. Eat your own ass, brother. Oh yeah, I remember now. The fucking audio in this one's kind of disproportionate because of the fact that I didn't properly audio balance. Let me okay, let's try this out. Oh my god. And to be clear, this was recorded at like 12 a.m. at night. So I sound very tired when I talk about this shit.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Just had to go check on the kitten.
Okay, now we're gonna react to my old tankie debate. This was like a few months ago. I was still in fucking anarchist server at the time. Jesus Christ. You can see I was also in infra server.
I'm obviously have a lot more to say.
Yeah, you have a lot more to say. Let's go. Keep in mind for this debate, I hadn't read much theory at all, and I was also a video essayist anarchist to a certain extent. I was not as well versed as I am right now, and it was also midnight when I recorded this. So I'm also super tired.
Them?
What? I still think I did pretty good. I showed it. I proofread it with the. I showed it to a few other people, and they said I did pretty solid, even if they disagree with some of my takes. And also, the audio might be kind of weird with my voice being louder than theirs because I didn't audio balance properly when I recorded this. This is all in secret, by the way, and they had no clue I was recording this, so they just went full mask off. Let's go.
Oh, God.
Wow, it's blurry too. Great. Gotta turn on my headset. Turned off by itself. Okay. Is the audio okay for you with it?
Yeah, we heard you.
I can't hear you guys. So.
I can hear it fine, yeah.
Okay, cool. No, I mean like my voice is a little bit too loud and
Hello,
they're
I
too
can finally
quiet.
hear you. Yay! I got a PlayStation
Yeah, I
Pulse
know.
headset recently, and I've never
I
used it
hate
with my
it.
computer
I hate hearing my voice.
before. So,
Fair enough.
how are you guys doing?
Good. We said salam.
Here, let me put it on a little bit faster. 1.5 speed.
You guys watching the debate chat earlier when I was talking in it?
Yeah, I joined on the tail end of it.
Oh, okay. I'm hoping it doesn't get too heated like it did there. I feel like everybody gets.
Oh, it gets heated all right. Let me fast forward a couple minutes. I don't think it starts until like a couple minutes in.
I believe that it is fundamentally unstable, cannot
Oh, wait.
accommodate the needs of
like very on my toes right now, or like quick-witted. So, because I'm trying to keep it quiet.
I'm exhausted. Look, I'm exhausted by like this Saudi man trying to.
This guy's a fucking prick, by the way.
Okay.
And I also end up debating a
Is there
mod
anything
of the
you guys wanna
server.
talk about right now?
Yes. I think that.
Oh, lovely.
You're right. Here's my problem with anarchism. One, the only successful iteration was under Adolf Hitler. Two, it's fundamentally.
Oh my gosh, it is so fucking quiet on the desktop audio. It's insane.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm
The
gonna need to turn it.
coughing is louder.
Okay, I'm gonna need to turn it up
Um,
on this end and then turn you on my things end and then turn you down, just so it
Okay,
balances
that's
out.
fine.
Okay.
I'm loud as shit anyway.
Okay. There we go. Because you hear it with more bass in your. Oh, that is true. Yeah.
What
Okay.
is going on right now? What are you responding to? I'm sorry.
Tell me if the audio is okay, by the way, for both Penelope and the audio, Lou, whenever you can, because I'm really trying to balance it out so you can hear the guys in the fucking thing. I had the desktop audio way down for
Yeah, well
fucking
done.
God knows why. But let's continue.
This reminds me, I do need to join more politics Discord servers just so I can be like, hey,
I'm gonna turn you down just a bit more, just because I have it turned up on my
Alright.
desktop. There we go. Tell me if I'll have him in chat. Tell me if the fucking thing sounds like shit.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm just saying that I believe that anarchism is a
excuse me.
Hitlerite ideology. I believe that if put into practice, it would just be Hitlerism. I believe that it is.
Did he just say Hitlerism? Let me rewind that real quick.
Two, it's fundamental.
You okay? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
That wasn't
What is
me.
going on?
Oh, that wasn't you.
now?
Oh my
What
god.
are you responding to? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm just saying
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I
that
believe that
cough was from
anarchism
the
is a
fucking video.
Hitlerite ideology.
Sounded like you for some reason. Okay, let's rewind. Okay, you're better. You can hear it. Okay, perfect.
Two,
Jesus Christ. You heard it too. It's like "Bleh." Okay,
Yeah.
let's continue. Let's get serious. Serious face.
fundamentally.
What is
Mm.
going on right now? What are you responding to? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm just saying that I believe that anarchism is a Hitlerite ideology.
Hitlerite.
Wow,
That
okay.
if
Hitlerite idea. Okay. I
Okay,
think we
so
can
hold
all
on,
see
first
the
of all-
problem with that, right?
Yeah. So I mentioned Freda before. He has a very good video specifically calling out the capitalism in the Third Reich, and specifically pointing out the fact that even though, you know, Nazism was a third positionism ideology, really fucking difficult to pass out what Nazis really were, considering they saw communism as a Jewish ideology and therefore, you know, socialism as well. And
Yeah.
they also saw capitalism as a Jewish ideology. But
The
they much more
Jews!
often than not they much more often than not aligned with capitalism, especially with the amount of shit owned by the state decreased after the Nazis took power. The amount of shit that they controlled decreased. But then you have people like fucking Tate History, just because he's fucking ANCAP, being like, well, actually, Amazon counts as public ownership of the means of production because you have stakeholders in the company.
Jesus Christ, you sound so fucking weird that way.
He did actually say that, but
You sound like a whole different person.
thank you. He did actually say that, by
That
the
was an
way, in
insult.
case you were wondering. Oh,
I'm
well,
kidding.
Still.
I'm kidding.
Take history. This is a slight bit of a tangent, but like it does play into this. Like Take History said that because 30% of the regular members of the public, that means that Amazon is an example of public ownership of the means of production. So Amazon is what socialists are.
You just cut
Yeah.
out there.
Oh, for fuck's sake, again.
I don't know what's going on with your mic. It just keeps randomly cutting out, and I just don't say anything because I can piece together what you're saying, but
Okay, well, if you can piece it together, then it's fine.
yeah.
But like, you have so many different people arguing that the Nazis were socialists when, in their own words, you had Goebbels saying that he fucking hated the socialist position of the Nazi Party and he was glad that they never got implemented. You had Hitler saying that capitalism cannot work with democracy, and then, him running a capitalist. So calling anarchism a Hitlerite ideology.
They literally killed
fucking
anarchists, by the way.
brain dead. Oh no, I know that they did. Like, they fucking, like, they were doing the same shit that Stalin and his type were doing
Yeah.
in the fucking Spanish Civil War, and also the Russian Civil
Yeah.
War. By actively murdering anarchists just because they were calling them out.
We've got to continue to
and
see
being
what
like,
else this guy
"Hey."
has to say.
Oh, I know.
There's a lot
just-
here to unpack. There's a lot here to unpack.
I know that thing pisses you off, but that pisses me off as
Yeah,
because
we're
it's
into
like,
your
no.
territory now, man. It's time for you to start screaming.
Oh.
Screaming in
Yeah.
Brit.
If put
Alright,
into
let's go.
practice, it would just be Hitlerism. I believe that it is fundamentally unstable, cannot accommodate the needs of society, and will never gain popular momentum among the masses because of its unappealing nature and
How is it
fundamental misanalysis of society.
How is it Hitler-esque when it's like the complete opposite of Hitler
Well,
and Nazism and shit?
the thing is that the anarchists, right? They feign as anti-hierarchy, but in
Mhm.
reality, right, you cannot escape certain hierarchies and power structures. And
Yes,
when
you can. Yes, you can.
power is in your hands, you sort of default
Okay,
to
so-
your ego. For example,
I haven't read Anarchist Theory, obviously. I can't say either way. Like, maybe it probably is, but I'm not gonna say either way. I
Wait.
cannot myself confidently say that.
Let me
But-
just get this straight. Let me get this straight. He believes that even though anarchy preaches anti-hierarchical views, that means he believes that it will still maintain hierarchy because there's certain ones you can't get rid of, and therefore it leads to Hitlerism. Like, it's literally the equivalent of saying trans women will become pedophiles for some reason.
Oh no, yeah, that is sort
It's
of
a
the same
huge jump in logic. Let's see.
line
I
of argument.
completely forget if he elaborates on his position though, so we gotta let him speak.
right? In your revolution, you are going to impose anarchism on other people, correct?
Mhm. Oh wait.
And you have to do that through a monopoly
No, I'm not sure what I say here, but no.
of violence, right?
Yeah.
What?
You would have to do this through a monopoly of violence, right? How else?
No, we're not gonna. Well, I mean, there's gonna be violence for when you overthrow the state, obviously. But when it comes to other people, we're not gonna freaking try to intimidate other people into joining our cause. We're a lot more peaceful through like mutual aid, direct action, just talking to people in general. Like Kropotkin has a whole book on this called Mutual Aid. I think it's called Mutual Aid: A Factor of Revolution.
Yeah, and I've read the Kropotkin book.
I haven't read it
I
yet.
guarantee
I'm
he
s-
hasn't.
Starting to get a lot more into literature now, personally.
The problem is, think about it, right? No revolution in the history of society has been achieved through convincing people that your idea is correct. You do so through the barrel of a gun, right? That's what Mao said. Now, because you're an anarchist, you understand this, and this is what every anarchist theorist understood from you. You can even say this Zapatistas or Rojava, right?
Mm-hmm.
They use their monopoly of violence to impose their ideology.
What the fuck does he mean? They use what monopoly on violence they have? Did somebody just walk by my window? Huh. No, nobody did. Let me put it to where you can also shit. I was supposed to put it to where you can post stuff too. Back out of your thing to see the playlist. I accidentally put it to where you host, so I can't unpause it now.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on.
But what the fuck does he mean? The Zapatistas use their monopoly? He doesn't understand what monopoly on violence means. He
Alright.
says he reads all this stuff, but he doesn't know what the fuck that means. Let's see. Allow everybody to edit. There you go. In case you wanna pause. But
Okay, so yeah, you got it back there.
the Zapatistas
The-
use their monopoly on violence. What the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, I don't know much about the Zapatista. I'm gonna assume he's just wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, the issue is they don't have a monopoly on violence. That's literally untrue. They're a fucking revolutionary group that are trying to maintain their current territories and just live in peace. The Mexican state is the one that has fucking monopoly on violence, not these guys. They're not going out there fucking killing everybody. They're just trying to get by. What the fuck? Dude, I should have gone so much harder, but it was just like midnight, got people asleep and stuff like that.
This means, right, even though they're technically anarchists, they instrumentally use monopoly of violence to achieve anarchist goals. Now, the other thing that ties in, that's just to clarify your question, right? You can ideologically.
Well, I mean,
do something,
if you want to argue, I'm sorry.
Lou said a monopoly on violence to me implies the sole power to declare an enemy. I would say a monopoly on violence is when a certain entity is the only entity that can legitimately use violence to suppress anybody they want, and that only entity that can do that is the state. They have to clarify what that means. It's more of a monopoly on legit violence, as in lawful violence. There's nobody else who could commit lawful violence besides the state, because they're the ones who create the laws, right?
Yeah, this reminds me of Saro specifically asked, I think, he, where he was like, and I didn't answer this well, again because I'm not an anarchist, and I was like, well, I'll try to answer it. I'm not someone who necessarily subscribes to this. It was like, how would that work in Haiti? The state barely has any control, and you have all of these other different individual gangs. And I was like, well, I would imagine that the monopoly on violence would be they all have the monopoly on legitimate violence in the areas that they themselves control. Do they have a monopoly on legitimate violence against each other? According to
That's not what that is. That would be a market on violence. If two fucking things have a supposed monopoly on violence, then they don't have a monopoly on violence. That's weird.
yeah, he was specifically asking how they could potentially have that then, and how they would like necessarily count as like states or having any form of state control over anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I obviously didn't answer it well because I didn't fucking know how to answer. Haven't read any theory in regards to that.
Got it.
Sorry if I can interrupt real quick. If you want to argue that, like the Zapatistas or any what's it called, anarchist society has a monopoly on violence because the community regulates itself, that's literally applicable to like literally everything. Even like Marxist-Leninist communism has that, because something is going to have to keep everything else in check, which that something is supposed to be the people themselves. The community is supposed to keep itself in check.
But here's the thing: if you destroy society, right, there's no blueprint, right? You're just expecting everybody like to somehow know how to manage the affairs of the state all by themselves.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm not a accelerationist like a fair amount of other anarchists are. I'm actually an incrementalist.
I'm not sure I'd use the term incrementalism anymore, because a lot of people interpret that as working within the state to get somewhere else. And like, if we're talking about outside the state, I am in favor of incremental change, because you have to slowly get people on board and educate them how to run an alternative society. That's what I pretty much meant. And that's what this guy doesn't understand, is the fact that the only way you can make radical change stick is by educating everybody involved how to maintain the next step of wherever you're going.
Yeah.
So by the way,
this does actually remind me of one of the reasons why, when talking about socialist theory, I'm like, realistically, just having an immediate jump to communism isn't a particularly amazing idea in most societies.
Well, yeah, that's the whole
don't
point
have.
of socialism. It's supposed to be the transitional state.
Yeah, like, but even with a socialist state itself, most societies and countries don't have the revolutionary
The revolutionary
like
what now?
the revolutionary history and sort of culture that a lot of different areas have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's nothing against those different cultures or countries. They just don't have it, quite frankly, which isn't anything inherently bad.
Yeah.
And so you need to effectively not just make it so you want to have a revolution, but know how to engage in one, and also know how to keep it going after you've already succeeded, because
That's the permanent
just
revolution, right?
taking, well, yeah, pretty
That's
much.
the
Which, like, I
Trotskyist
don't think,
thing.
yeah, which is the main thing that I agree with Trotsky. That being, like, you cannot just have, oh, brilliant, we've got the revolution done. Now let's focus on ourselves. You need to focus on other areas because capitalism will actively attack you. Can be it militarily,
Mm-hmm.
economically, ideologically, all three. But also, you need to have it so that the masses themselves are educated properly, because if they aren't educated, you'll likely just fall back into capitalism, and you'll just have to do the whole process all over again. You're fucking
Yeah.
yourself over by not educating people as a result.
Yeah. Okay, let's check this out now. Let's see what he has to say. Hooray.
Do you believe in seizing state power to incrementally decrease it?
He's referring to dictator proletariat, in case anybody doesn't know.
Seizing state power hasn't taken over the state.
Yes.
I don't agree with taking over the state, but I'm in favor of like electing people who are slowly more progressive than the last.
I am not in favor of that anymore, by the way. Not necessarily as like the main form of making change. I'm in favor of that in the sense of harm reduction, but my stance has changed to where I personally cannot support the system anymore unless that actually comes up, because at the time I was electoralist in the sense of just trying to harm reduction. Right now I'm very pessimistic about the system and believe we are kind of fucked and we need to find other ways to help each other out, because the Democrats aren't going to do it for us and neither are the Republicans. That's my current stance on it right now.
Weaken the state and make it easier to overthrow it and just abolish it.
How does this work in your like mind?
How does what work?
What you just said.
Like,
Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
like specifically what? Like
What you just said. How does this work?
You get people who are more incrementally progressive as time goes on in office, and they pass various laws which will weaken the state, like defunding the police and shit. And then eventually, when we get enough support on our end, then we can violently overthrow the state. But that's not going to happen for like a long time. I don't even see that happening within my lifetime. We have to lay out like pretty much like the steps and like the
I
path
fucking
for
hate listening to myself breathing. I swear to fucking God, I made myself way too loud.
future generations and stuff, in my opinion.
It's fine.
Got it.
Which is kind of like a hot take among other anarchists, but it's in like the path for future generations and stuff, in my opinion, which is kind of like a hot take among other anarchists. But just to flip, just so I can get an idea of where you guys are, what's your guys' plan towards the dictatorship of the proletariat and then withering away the state or whatever?
Why not advocate for revolution?
Well, I mean, I do, but I'm not going to advocate for a suicide mission. I want to make sure the revolution is successful the first time. I don't want the state to come over and just fucking bash my head in, and then everything starts from square one.
I do agree with
but
that still.
Again, I want to just hear what you guys have to say on your
100%.
end as well. If that's cool.
There's no need in all to like do incrementalism. All you really need to do is weaken the state's popular support. That's all you really
And how do you do that?
At the end of the day.
I mean, I agree with that. I do agree with that. I should have clarified that. It's just the fact that it's a collective effort of doing multiple things rather than focusing specifically on one thing at a time. You can do a diversity of tactics, and I think that would work a lot better than running at the state or just weakening popular support or just doing one other thing, you know?
Oh, yeah, I mean, to re-clarify again, this is sort of to a degree what I mean when I say I take the permanent revolution, I take shit like democratic centralism, I take that all very seriously. Shit like how Trotsky himself did praxis, shit like hatred for the peasantry. Well, not hatred, but like thinking that they can't be an independent revolutionary force. I don't take any of that shit seriously, and I go to people like Mao, who says that they can be, and fully agree with him on that. Or, you know, the closest thing I have to a hero, Salvador Allende, I'll go to people like them, and I suppose that I suppose in a sense I would be sort of similar to you in that, like, pluralist socialist. I think that there should be mass diversity in tactics, but there still have to be some. Um, but there are some things that I agree more with.
Than others.
Above all else, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I do think like the permanent revolution needs to be taken seriously. But a lot of what Trotskyists do in practice is shit. Outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
The state will act,
Cool.
and state actors, be it senators, House of what is it
You could
called?
just say
House of
politicians in general.
politicians
Hmm.
will act in their self-interest.
Yeah, that's
So
why I do not agree.
The only you cannot vote. You cannot vote transition. You cannot vote that
well,
into existence.
Well, I agree with that actually, which is why I'm in favor of directly attacking and abolishing the state rather than making a dictatorship of the proletariat and hoping it just withers away. It's because there will be actors who try to grab onto power, and then the state will fight for itself to survive. That's kind of why I disagree with Marxism's idea.
As long as you, how do you say it? As long as you continue to vote,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you partake, so to speak, in the quote unquote system,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot initiate some kind of revolutionary change.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm not strictly an electoralist person. I agree with pretty much nearly every form of praxis, which is why I've also talked about mutual aid, direct action, discussing with people. I think you can do two different things at once in order to be more productive rather than just being very reductionist or taking out nuance of stuff.
This is the new. I remember back in the day when I used to be
They
very.
were saying that their position is.
Oh, okay. I remember back in the day when I used to be very staunchly electoralist, and I would treat it as a one or the other game. When you don't have to do that, a lot of people get stuck in the false dichotomy of direct action or voting. You could do both, right? Which is why I don't really have an issue with people voting for the lesser evil. I just personally won't do it because I feel sick voting for Kamala Harris again. But just kind of wanted to get that out of the way, as in I don't believe in the false dichotomy of voting or direct action.
No, yeah, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Direct action, discussing with people. I think you can do two different things at once in order to be more productive rather than just being very reductionist or taking out nuance of stuff.
They were saying that their position is to like weaken the state through electoralism for the purpose of overthrowing it eventually, like making it.
Yeah, I don't want to take it over. I don't think taking it over is a good idea.
Not reformism.
Do you understand how like the opposing forces or the people who disagree with you, who have no qualms using the state to sort of crush you, will just strengthen the state at the same time.
Things at once in order to be more productive rather than just being very reductionist or taking out nuance of stuff.
They were saying that their position is to like weaken the state through electoralism for the purpose of overthrowing it eventually, like making it.
Yeah, I don't want to take it over. I don't think taking it over is a good idea.
Not reformism.
Do you understand how like the opposing forces or the people who disagree with you, who have no qualms using the state to sort of crush you, will just strengthen the state at the same time that you're participating in the electoral system.
Hold on, sorry. I need to.
Oh yeah.
I need to just go deal with something.
Yeah, sure. Take
Just
a
give me a
second.
sec.
Yeah, you got it. You're good. I need to check Discord anyways because I got a few messagerinos. For some reason, no.
Okay, never mind, it's sorted. Let's continue.
1 second. Fucking one of the dudes on the Discord server we talking. Oh my gosh, he's saying that that Michael Malice isn't an ANCAP. Oh my god,
Wait, sorry, what?
this guy in the Discord, he says that Michael Malice isn't an ANCAP.
Oh, wait, Leroy's saying that?
Yep.
Hold on.
I'm just responding to him real quick before we go on. Because that is some stupid shit. He literally said he supports profit under anarchism. You cannot be serious.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Oh, also, I just joined a server during this time. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's continue now because we still have 40 more minutes. Hooray.
It really depends on who
You can pause
vote
it too,
for,
by the
though.
way, now.
No, I know, I can.
Yeah. If you have anything you want to say, just pause it.
The further left and social democrats, it's kind of like an incremental thing, which is why I say I'm an incrementalist. I don't think we're going to be getting this kind of like weakened state that will be overthrown anytime soon. I think that's just a fucking pipe dream.
Social Democrats want to
Dude.
strengthen the state.
Yeah, the Democrats would just make the state stronger, bruh.
It depends on the Democrat, though, because there are quote unquote progressive Democrats who are like defund the police and ACAB and stuff, but they're not really given much of like a federal level amount of like what do you call it, media coverage and stuff. They're mainly like local, because I know there's some decent.
They want to
Notice how
expand
much
the
they keep
state.
wanting to talk over me, by the way. Like, I try to finish a
Yeah.
point, and they keep trying to talk over me. Meanwhile, I let them fucking finish their point most of the time, at least. They're very... When somebody keeps trying to constantly interrupt you, it's kind of like they're trying to keep you from making a good point.
Oh, 100%.
Their position is that we need to defund the police to hire more social workers.
Well, isn't that a good thing for us if we want to overthrow the
Fuck's sake, hold
state?
on.
Social workers aren't going to.
What?
I'm being called down for fucking New Year's Eve celebration.
Oh, do you have to go?
Yeah, I do.
Ah, shit. Okay. I guess we can go over this stuff later then.
Yeah, yeah, I can do. Should only be like an hour or so.
I'm gonna stop the stream and
Alright.
just make sure we stay in the same place. 10:48. Just gotta remember that. We'll be back in like a little bit for anyone who wants to view the stream.